Your racing radio stations in Melbourne, Sport 927, in Perth, Racing Radio 1206, and in Brisbane, 4TAB, are proud to support the 14th edition of the Australasian Racing Year for season 95-96.
Rocketed through on the inside of Sprint By.
This is the horse that they thought shouldn't be racing. Well, Sprint
Gamer is trained by Gay Waterhouse, who now prepares.
She loves to shake, rattle and roll the opposition and decides she's a star.
Moves up the flyboard. G's good. Look at him go to the lot. 10 Group 1 wins to Darren Beedman.
Merlene, a Bay filly by Dane Hill out of Bold Promise, raced by Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd.
Has got the money, Stephen King. Drum.
And Gold Ace has absolutely destroyed them.
Mate, when Greg decides to win a big race, he makes a verdict.
Once again, this year, Raceplay, the sporting company, has been joined in this production by Sky Channel, Australia's sporting satellite network. Welcome to the 14th edition of the Australasian Racing Year, a season in which we gave witness to the emergence of a 3-year-old whose record bears comparison to the mighty Kingston Town. His name, of course, is Octagonal. We again saw a major European involvement in our greatest race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup. But on this occasion, it was safely repelled, with Lee Friedman taking his 3rd Cup as one of the highlights of his biggest ever season. The Cup was one of 13 Group 1 wins for Friedman, who has now trained 10 or more Group 1 wins in 5 successive seasons, something no other Australian trainer has ever achieved. There were 65 Group 1 races across Australia, and 3 trainers, Friedman, John Hawkes and Gay Waterhouse, won 29 between them. That amazing sire, Dane Hill, was Australia's champion sire for the 2nd time, as well as champion sire of 2-year-olds for the 3rd time. Dane Hill has now sired the Golden Slipper winner in each of his first 3 crops, an astonishing achievement when you consider the number of thoroughbred stallions competing across Australia and New Zealand. In 1995-96, as it does every season, the Group 1 action begins with the running of Moonee Valley's Manikato Stakes at Weight for Age. With the Moonee Valley Strathayr track in the final stages of consolidation, the Manikato was decided over the straight 1,200-metre track at Flemington.
850 metres left to go. Bruni Spirit just a leader from Del Sala. Close up behind them on the inside is Blevick, and they were followed then by Royal Rubicona. And in behind them came Northwood Plume, followed by Sea Sky. And there's one coming down the outside alone there, Ruling Regent. As they race onto the course proper, they're across the track. Bruni Spirit, the leader, you remember, is going up very quickly on the outside. And wider on the track, Sequalo joining in. Hurricane Sky just behind them. They're followed by Del Sala, and further back is Plushka from a long way back, followed by Sir Boomer. Ruling Regent alone down the outside as they come to the 200. Brawny Spirit tackled in the centre by You Remember Sequalo. Sea Sky is finishing on very fast. It's still Brawny Spirit in front, and Ruling Regent not in the race on the outside. You Remember going up on the outside to tackle Brawny Spirit. You Remember wins it from Sea Sky second. Oh, there's one got through on the inside. Blevick might have run a place.
The Manikato provided a career highlight for Lance Smith, Caulfield-based trainer who learned his craft under the supervision of the late Jeff Murphy, one of Victoria's finest trainers. It was, however, just a taste of things to come for winning jockey Dan Nickley. During the early part of the spring, we watched the brilliant New Zealand-trained but Australian-bred sprinter Al Maskay repeatedly obliterate his opponents in a series of 3 group races in Sydney. Now, when the day finally arrived for Al Maskay to demonstrate his worth in Melbourne, he was a short prize favourite for the Group 2 Ascot Vale Stakes.
They've got about 450 to go. Frost to the Snowman a length in front of our Maze K and Strategic. They're both coming after the leader now. Strategic is battling at the moment, and our Maze K slipped away. And the New Zealand Star Dash 2 or 3 lengths in front. York going for home. Our Maze K 3 Strategic. Gold Ace into third the outside. And then Frost to the Snowman, but our Maze K is holding them at bay. He's making a mess of them. Our Maze K wins it brilliantly. Gold Ace second, Strategic third.
Any doubters among the Melbourne racing fraternity vanished after that spectacular win in brilliant time. Al Maskay's next stopover was across town at Caulfield, where he followed the trail blazed by the champion Manikato 17 years earlier.
Our Maze K, the leader, about a half in front of Hunza Court. All Our Mob is hard ridden and then cut up rough, waiting for the run. Plusker deep out, followed by Petita Moore, You Remember, and Bourbon and Ice. Our Maze K first for home, and the 3-year-old led a length and a half from Hunza Court. Cut up rough's in the clear. He's had a lovely run coming after the leader. Then You Remember. It's Our Maze K by a length to cut up rough. Dittman winding him up. Our Maze K a half cut up rough coming at him. Our Maze K fighting on like a bulldog. Cut up rough coming at him. Our Maze K cut up rough. Our Maze K just won it from Cut Up Rough, I think, in a desperate photo.
That wasn't the last we saw of Our Maze K. The other major race on Vic Health Cup Day is the Underwood Stakes. The previous year, by way of experiment, the Victoria Amateur Turf Club reduced the race from 2,000 to 1,800 metres. Jeune won the Underwood on the way to Horse of the Year honours in 1995. What would this season hold?
Punching a little at the turn, 4.50 to go. Island Morn in front, Snap almost level before the turn. In behind these, Station Hand, State Taj ridden along. Toil on the outside from Boart. Hurricane Sky with a lot of work to do. In the straight, Island Morn the leader. Half a length to Snap, Station Hand, State Taj. Sharsco running into it down on the inside, threading through. Island Morn in front of us on the outside, Snap. Sharsco weaving through. Boart down the outside. Here's Count Chivas. He's coming with a great run there across the track. It's Sharsco going up, grabbing the lead. Boart the outside, nothing in it. Sharsco, Boart have hit it together.
Sharsco was the opening stanza of trainer Lee Freedman's Group 1 season. Sharsco was soon elevated to favourite for the Caulfield Cup, but due to injury, didn't make the race. The Freedman brothers put in many hours trying to rehabilitate Sharsco, only to have the horse transferred to another trainer at the back end of the season. Meanwhile, the Australian Jockey Club's Spring Carnival was underway, and the champion 3-year-old of last season, Damewin, was a dominating favourite.
Nick's Joy by 3/4 to Oppressor, 3 to Star Dancer, 2 to Western Red, followed by Churnganoff and Pharaoh midfield on the inside of Tarradoo, followed by Seasky, Auntie Mary, Dane Winners out 3 deep and Desert Chillers back at the tail as they near the turn. Nick's Joy about a neck on Oppressor, 2 to Star Dancer, Western Red 4th, followed by Churnganoff and then Tarradoo. Pharaoh's going all right, but he's behind a wall of horses turning for home, and well back Seasky and Dane Winners now pull to the outside as they come over the rise. Nick's Joy the leader from Oppressor, Star Dancer. Here's Tarradoo down the outside with a big run. Dane Winners struggling a bit at the 200 mark. Tarradoo went to the lead over Star Dancer. Nick's Joy, Churnganoff near the fence, and now Dane Win on the outside is charging. Tarradoo's in front. Dane Win and Churnganoff won't pick him up, and Tarradoo, Billy Aspros throws him over the line, and Tarradoo beat Dane Win.
The George Main was a personal triumph for Hawkesbury trainer Gary Fraser, and the first Group 1 win for champion country jockey Billy Aspros. Unfortunately, the balance of the season was not kind to either of them. Fraser endured the disappointment of Tarradoo sustaining a career-threatening hindquarter injury. In February, Aspros had a bad race fall at the New South Wales country track of Orange, and it was 5 months before he was even cleared to ride track work again. Shane Dye's ride on Damewin in the George Main had been surrounded by controversy, with the jockey having a strongly worded verbal duel with the chairman of stewards, Ray Murray. The jockey subsequently fell out with Damewin's managing part owner, Sonny Yam, and lost all future rides on this very good galloper. Meanwhile, in the 3-year-old ranks, there was a rising star, and that man Dye was in the limelight again.
Coming towards the 600 now, and Stork in front of Vernal in the centre, Sir Debonair on the outside, Flying Spur waiting for a run, followed by Catalan Opening, then Classy Fella, Nothing Like a Danish, flat to the boards as they turn for home from Super Slew and Recalcitrance, coming over the rise, and Stork, they've got to get him yet, he's well clear as they top the hill, led by 2 lengths on Catalan Opening, Nothing Like a Dane starting to wind up, Flying Spur down near the inside, Nothing Like a Dane, sprinted very quickly and raced up to head. Stork, Catalan Opening is boxing on strongly, and Super Slew down the outside, but Nothing Like a Dane draws clear near the post. Super Slew is charging home in second place, but Nothing Like a Dane too good and beats Super Slew.
One of the highlights of spring racing in Sydney is the $500,000 Epsom Handicap, this year sponsored for the first time by Canon. This time-honoured race is decided over the metric mile at Randwick and is usually one of the most open events on the calendar. The 1995 running was no exception.
And Dane Win goes to the lead. Dane Win has come right over from the outside gate to take up the running from Final Tempo. Nick's Joy, head just prominent. A length to Cohort, followed by Sprint By on the outside of My Diamond Rouge, and then Danarani. Vital Consent 3 deep. Auntie Mary midfield on the inside of Seasky, followed by Pharaoh, Star Dancer, Mr. Marconi. Out wide Jamia, followed by Salivate, and then Juggler, Tarradoo, Persian Flyer, hard ridden second last, and Rembetica last as they turn for home. Straightening up, and Dane Win the leader over Nick's Joy, Hedge on the outside. On the fence, My Diamond Rouge. His Vital Consent and Sprint By now putting in their runs as they come to the 200 mark. And Nick's Joy headed Dane Win. Nick's Joy and Dane Win are fighting it out there. Clear of Sprint By and Vital Consent. It's Nick's Joy just the leader over Dane Win as they get near home. Vital Consent and Juggler is motoring home, but Nick's Joy in front, and Nick's Joy won the Epsom over Dane Win, Juggler third, followed by...
The previous June, Chris Muntz had experienced his finest moment in racing by winning the Brisbane Cup on Desert Chill. Now, as full-time Sydney jockey, the Epsom win on Nick's Joy was a quick reminder that his move south had been the right one. The Flight Stakes is the first of the Group 1 races for 3-year-old fillies. The traditional lead-up, the Group 2 T-Rose Stakes at Rose Hill, had been decidedly won by New Haven Park Stud's marauding filly, Pontal Lass.
700 out as they near the turn. Seattle Gem, a narrow leader over Ginzano. Tripping's had a pretty hard run, followed by Psalm, and then I Sold a Warning Bell on the outside. Shame behind those. Portview on the fence, followed by Hippopotamus with nowhere to go as they come around the corner from Nightclub Show of Force. And Pontal Lass is giving them a big start as they turn. Over the rise, the leader, Seattle Gem, from Ginzano, followed by Tripping. I Sold a struggling. Down the outside is Shame as they come to the 200 mark, where Seattle Gem is headed by Tripping. Tripping is still there. Here's Pontal Lass. Pontal Lass is getting the rails run, and she's after her stablemate. And Shame on the outside. Pontal Lass has burst to the lead close to home. She's giving the tail a decent old swish as she goes to the line, but it makes no difference. Pontal Lass beat Tripping. Shame third. Kirov Dan.
New Haven Park and Warwick Farm trainer Clary Connors have become an increasingly powerful combination over the last 10 years. Pontal Lass is just their latest feature race winner, with previous notable big race performers including the 1989 Horse of the Year, Research, the 1992 Golden Slipper winner, Burst. The final Group 1 feature of the AJC spring meeting is the Metropolitan, this year decided at set weights for the first time. The popular New Zealand trainer John Wheeler realised that his 1993 Cox Plate winner, the Phantom Chance, would be superbly weighted under the special conditions of this year's Metropolitan, and he went out a well-backed favourite with Mick Dittman in the saddle.
600 out in the Metrop, and it's Stony Bay the leader over Western Approaches. Grand Connection Unsolved has been ridden the absolute perfect race by Patrick Payne. If good enough, he's coming into it now, followed by Electronic. Hear that bell about 5 deep on the turn, and then Cito Flarian, Cito Bridge under the whip, followed by Joie Denise and the Phantom Chance. Over the rise, they've got to get Stony Bay. Stony Bay clear and going strongly. Here's Electronic. Electronic coming right down the middle of the track with a big run. She's after her stablemate Stony Bay, and Electronic has grabbed the lead. Stony Bay fighting back again, however. Unsolved is battling on, and the Phantom Chance is motoring down the outside. Electronic just in front. The Phantom Chance inch by inch wearing her down, but Electronic wins the Metropolitan over the Phantom Chance with Stony Bay third. Followed...
Electronic had been purchased as a tried horse in New Zealand by clients of trainer Gay Waterhouse, headed by her father, the training legend Tommy Smith. The mare arrived at Tulloch Lodge with just one win to her credit. The Waterhouse polish elevated her to Group 1 status within the time frame of a single preparation. Glenn Boss completed a big spring double, having also handled Pontal Lass in the Flight Stakes.
While many of the stars were out at Randwick during the AJC Spring Carnival, the pace of Melbourne's Carnival moved up a cog with the running of the Group 2 Turnbull Stakes at Flemington. It provided a fascinating preview for some of the big events just around the corner.
at the 500. And State Taj a length, Sir Boom. Running on along the inside now is Toil, and they're followed by Shy Stad and Love Dancers coming on down the outside. Further back in the field then came Sir Kingy and Blevik, and still well back is Buzz Off with 300 metres to go. State Taj tackled by Toil. Doremus chopped out of a run. Love Dance wider out. Here's All Our Mob now, and Sir Kingy the widest runner, and a fair way back still is Buzz Off. It's now All Our Mob racing to Toil. All Our Mob from Toil and Sir Kingy the outside, but All Our Mob's broken away, and the Turnbull to Waterhouse. All Our Mob wins well. Doremus a big run second. Sir Kingy third the outside. Then
Gay Waterhouse received all the kudos here, and rightly so, because in the space of a few months she'd transformed All Our Mob from being a Newmarket handicap winner to a competent 2,000-metre galloper. But did you see that baldy-faced chestnut working home stylishly in second place? Well, just in case you've forgotten already, his name is Doremus. 7 days later, the racing spotlight shifts to the eastern side of Melbourne for the Guineas meeting. On the opening day, Caulfield hosted 3 Group 1s in a single afternoon. The 3-year-olds in training lined up to do battle in the $500,000 Caulfield Guineas, with our Maizke going for 6 on end, a heavily backed favourite.
At the 850, he led by Justin a length, El Kahira's son. Ravada is third on the inside. Fourth on the outer, then Strategic. 1 Burrito, 1 Cheviot. 1.5 further back, Octagonal starting a run around the outside. Followed by Vernal, Flying Spur and Principality. 600 to go. Our Maizke 3/4. El Kahira's son is second. Moving up to third, Strategic. Ravada on the fence. Then Burrito, followed by, as they sweep towards the turn, Octagonal. Flying Spur under pressure from Cheviot. Vernal, Principality at the turn now, and little Our Maizke slipped away 2 lengths in front around the turn. Strategic got the second from Ravada, and then Octagonal and Burrito from Vernal, but it's all Our Maizke inside the 200. 3 lengths Ravada, then Strategic and Octagonal, but it's Our Maizke all the way. A dazzling victory in the Caulfield Guineas. Our Maizke by 3. Ravada second, Octagonal is third, Vernal fourth.
Our Maizke had just one more run after this tremendous win and was found to be suffering from a virus and later a minor leg injury. The form from this race stood up brilliantly, with Ravada and Octagonal winning Group 1 races both before and after the Guineas. Our Maizke was retired to stand alongside champion first season sire St Jude at Glenlogan Stud in southeast Queensland. The Caulfield Stakes is run over 2,000 metres at weight for age, and is considered a major lead-up to the Caulfield Cup, run at the same track 7 days later. Danewin, being ridden for the first time by Damien Oliver, was a heavily backed favourite.
Nearing the 600, Stony Bay in front, a half to Pearl Prince. Danewin on the inside, biding his time, Oliver. Then came Mr. Marconi and the Penny around the outside, 2 lengths to Donar, and they're being followed when they sweep to the turn. Star Dancer, Starstruck, Journer second last around the home turn. They're bunching now. Stony Bay the inside, Pearl Prince, Mr. Marconi. Danewin can't get a crack at them. Oliver Sweat's on a run. It comes now at the 250. Then Donar with 200 metres to go. Danewin takes the gap and dashes to the front from Stony Bay. Then Donar on the outside. It's Danewin in front of Donar. It's All in Fun pushing through. Danewin clear for Oliver though. It's All in Fun coming after him, but Danewin is going to score. Danewin from It's All in Fun. Starstruck has run third, and then Mr. Marconi, Jean, Donar.
Racing at Caulfield on Guineas Day indicated that horses racing near the lead and on the fence had a significant advantage. And for that reason, the Gerald Ryan trained Sober Suit attracted strong support at double-figure odds.
Down the side, only about 10 lengths first to last, 650 out. Island Mortar half in front. Running second, as you remember, Sober Suit, the railers third. Cut up rough the outside. Wonder Hedge, who's ridden along at the moment, followed by Corregidor. Further back in the field is Snap coming into it with Ferragamo, the outside, and then Alcove. Baryshnikov still a fair way back coming around the home turn. Hard ridden, and then Danarani. They set sail for home. Island Morn first round the bend from Sober Suit, and you remember Sober Suit shoving you remember out of the way. Next is Cut Up Rough from Hedge and Snap down the outside. Inside the 200, Sober Suit out after Island Morn. Island Morn in front of Sober Suit. Here's Seasky and Snap there descending quickly. Sober Suit got to Island Morn. Seasky flashing home. Sober Suit in front. Sober Suit. One of the head to Seasky. Danarani's come from nowhere.
While perhaps not a vintage Toorak field, Sober Suit was ridden aggressively by leading apprentice Brett Preble to take advantage of his rock-hard fitness and the prevailing track conditions. This was the first of 5 Group 1 races for the season for trainer Gerald Ryan. The 1,000 Guineas was another classic Melbourne versus Sydney affair. Sydney had the Flight Stakes winner Pontel Lass and the John Hawkes trained Shame. Melbourne, meanwhile, had an unheralded Salieri filly named Celius.
Celius is second, 3.5 away, Country Walk. 2 lengths then to Pontel Lash, the favourite on the inside of Not On Friday. Couple of lengths to Seamus Solder, ridden along on the inside to Brackenbank. They're followed further back by Nightclub and Tripping, and then Tenacity, Mia Moore, Mad Desire and Our Mystique. To the turn they race in the 1,000 guineas now. Forte Vento just the leader from Celius, Country Walk. Pontel Lash just behind them, fourth at the top of the straight. Not On Friday with a run around the outside, and then Seamus Solder. Forte Vento tackled by Celius at the 200, running on Not On Friday. Pontel Lash just behind these horses. Celius the leader here. Celius 2 lengths to Not On Friday. Shame is starting to motor home. Celius in front. Shame coming after it from Not On Friday. Celius in front. Shame lunging. Shame got there to beat Celius. A short half hit, I'd say, with Not On Friday third.
Shame had a subtle gear change here, being fitted with a one-eyed blinker in a bid to extract the best from this quality filly. Shame has a fascinating international pedigree, having been bred at Barramel Stud in the Widden Valley and sold to the Ingham brothers for $120,000 at the 1994 William Inglis Australian Easter Sale. There were so many improbables surrounding the 1995 Caulfield Cup. With favourite Shaskay out injured, the race was thrown wide open, and rain during the week served to cloud the picture even further. Caulfield Stakes winner Danewin sidestepped the race in favour of the Cox Plate a week later. Shane Dye took over from Glenn Boss on Metropolitan winner Electronic, but the mare's hopes suffered a major setback when she drew an outside barrier. It was truly one of the most open Caulfield Cups in years.
Double take the leader by about a head here from Fewer Chosen. Electronic is third, and then came Oppressor just behind them. Taking off is El Cove, and round them comes Unsolved with a run now as they bunch up. Love Dancer's close to the leaders as well. Waikikamu Cow getting through on the inside, and Boarda's coming around the outside, and then Doremus. Fewer Chosen the leader before the turn. Unsolved up the challenge. Board out wider. Electronic's taking a claim from El Cove, and then Waikikamu Cow. Count Shivers out wide. Board, the West Australian mare, hit the front. Count Shivers coming after her from Electronic. Fewer Chosen fighting back on the rail at the 200. And it's Board and Count Shivers now from Doremus and Fewer Chosen. Count Shivers and Board from Doremus. Count Shivers, Board, Doremus. Doremus coming at Count Shivers. Doremus! Doremus got it a neck to Count Shivers. Third is Board.
Doremus had been purchased as a tried horse in New Zealand during the winter of 1994, with his previous trainer, Jim Gibbs, retaining a 10% share in the gelding. He's obscurely bred, nothing to look at, but his staying power and wet track ability were too much for his less patiently ridden rivals in the final stages. A superb Group 1 exhibition here by Damien Oliver.
The race in which legends are made. That's how the Moonee Valley Racing Club promotes the BMW Cox Plate these days. And really, has it been more appropriate? Danewin started favourite on the strength of his excellent Caulfield Stakes performance, with Our Mace-Gay heavily backed to beat him. There was a flood of money for Mahogany, who was having only his second run from a spell, and his first for 7 weeks. And then there was Octagonal, who'd been so unsuited in the slowly run Caulfield Guineas, and was stepping beyond a mile for the first time. A huge crowd at Moonee Valley hushed momentarily, waiting for the gates to spring open for the running of the 1995 BMW Cox Plate.
The champion 3-year-old goes to the outside, and the Cox Plate field is ready. They're set. They're racing. Danewin began okay, and Our Mace-Gay has flown the gate from the outside and has hit the front in the first 100 metres, Our Mace-Gay. He moved 2 lengths in front of Stony Bay, and Mahogany and further outsold it. Danewin is on the inside from Pakaraka Star, Mr. Marconi, station hand. Sweeping out of the straight from Dana Rani, Octagonal. Seascape the middle, and further back then came Just Apollo. Jeune second last, and Star Dancer last of all. Our Mace-Gay on top by 2 down the side. Second in the race, Stony Bay, and Danewin is third on the rail. A half then to Solbert, fourth a length further back in the race, Mahogany. Then station hand moving up on the outside from Pakaraka Star, Mr. Marconi. Dana Rani the inside, and Just Apollo 3 deep. Then Seascape, Octagonal, further back in the race then. Star Dancer and Jeune is last of all. 1,200 out, and it's our Mace K, the 3-year-old colt in front. He's 3/4 to a length in front of Stony Bay. Dane Winner's getting a glorious run third, a half then to Solbert fourth. 2 for the back, Mahogany running fifth, and Just Apollo 3 deep. Back in the middle, Station Hand and 2 lengths, Pakaraka Star. Outside him is the fellow Kiwi, Mr. Marconi. 2 for the back in the race, then Octagonal 3 deep around Seasky. Danarani on the fence, a length for the back, Jern. He's at the tail of the 800-metre mark with Star Dancer. Off the back in the Cox Plate, and it's our Mace K. Over on the inside and neck in front with Stony Bay putting the pressure on the outside. Solbert is further out on the track with Station Hand. Then Just Apollo. Dane Winner's waiting for a run at the 600-metre mark, and further back in the race, Mahogany off the rail. Pulled out wide on the track is Octagonal, and the widest runner is Jern. Our Mace K struggling. He's gone. Station Hand has hit the front. Dane Win carry back through the field. Hampered badly. Station Hand in front. Here's Octagonal and Jern with a mighty run. Then getting through is on the inside Mahogany. Mahogany rails up with Octagonal at the 200-metre marker on the outside. Octagonal. Mahogany coming at him. Stride for stride now on the Cox Plate. Mahogany, Octagonal. Octagonal, Mahogany. Octagonal's got his nose in front. Octagonal wins the Cox Plate. Wins it ahead, Mahogany. 2 lengths.
What a tussle. With Octagonal and Mahogany, Shane Dye and Greg Hall all finding that little extra under the enormous pressure of the final 200 metres in the country's richest weight-for-age race. The race provided a new career high point for trainer John Hawkes, who joined the Ingham operation 3 years earlier and has led Sydney's Chicken Kings into their most successful era. For Shane Dye, it gave him the third of Australia's big 3 races. He had previously won the '89 Melbourne Cup on Terrific and the Golden Slipper Stakes, an incredible 4 times in succession. Later on in the Australasian Racing Year, we'll relive the magic of Cox Plate Day as part of our tribute to the Big O, Octagonal. One of the other features on Cox Plate Day is the Moonee Valley Cup, formerly a handicap, but now run at special weights over 2,600 metres. In 1990, this race provided the Melbourne Cup winner, Kingston Rule, and this year's victor was also destined to be among the popular elects at Flemington.
With about 650 to run, then 1.5 further back. Hard ridden is the Phantom Chance. He's under the whip, the Phantom Chance. And Toyle has gone up quickly on the outside to put his head of Hunter Oppressor, who can't go on at the moment. Campaign Warrior into the picture. Tall Order on the outside running on. And here comes Storm making a great run. And back behind them is Pindy, followed by Bullwinkle. Very hard ridden, the Phantom Chance. And then came Quick Ransom from a long way back as they make the home turn. Storm very deep on the track has hit the front as they straighten up and careered away. 200 metres left to go. Storm is well clear. Bullwinkle running on, followed by Toyle, and down the outside Quick Ransom, followed by Tall Order. But it's Storm in front, and it's Storm's Grosby Moonee Valley Cup. Quick Ransom finishing on, so is Bullwinkle, but Storm too good. Won by a length and a half. Bullwinkle, Quick Ransom, I think third, just ahead of Cessna. Then Gossip.
Melbourne in the spring is a feast of quality racing. After Cox Plate Day, the spotlight shifts about 5 kilometres across to famous Flemington for 4 days of champagne thoroughbred competition. Opening day at Flemington is Derby Day, viewed by most as the finest single day's racing on the Australian calendar, with the highlight being the Group 1 AAMI Victoria Derby. In an interview conducted in the heat of the emotion of Octagonal's Cox Plate win, Shane Dye was asked, "I bet you'd like to be riding Octagonal in the Victoria Derby." Dye instantly replied, "No, I'd prefer to ride Nothing Like a Dane."
And Burrito is the leader, only about a neck in front now. Nothing Like a Dane up to challenge him. Principality third, Catlin opening, coming around the outside, and then Zoff Coast. Octagonal waiting when they sweep for home, easing off the fence now. And then Sir Macwin and Surinelg they corner, and into the straight they run with Nothing Like a Dane going up to Burrito. 2 lengths further back, Principality, Zoff Coast and Donar. Then Catlin opening on the outside. Octagonal hard ridden at the moment. Nothing Like a Dane strode to the front at the 250 from Burrito. Then Donar pushing through. Octagonal and Catlin opening are coming. Nothing Like a Dane 2 lengths. Here comes Octagonal now. Scriven winding him up. Nothing Like a Dane in front. He's a length clear from Octagonal. Nothing Like a Dane holding on. Nothing Like a Dane 1 1/4 length Octagonal. 3 lengths Donar third. Then
This was the finest moment in a training career that is a mere 5 seasons old. Gay Waterhouse prepared her first Derby winner, with one of the colt's owners being her father, T.J. Smith, who had trained more than 30 derbies in a sensation-filled career. Nothing Like a Dane was bred by Arrowfield Stud and was purchased by Waterhouse for $155,000 at the 1994 Magic Million sale. He's bred on a cross of the two greatest sires of the modern era, by Danehill, out of a mare by Sir Tristram. The Salinger Stakes has gone by many names in its commercial history, but the race has a happy knack of isolating the best sprinters in training. One thing remains constant, however. The race is always a charge of the Light Brigade down the famous Flemington Straight.
Race's Edge goes up at his inside, almost joins him. Don Pasquale third ahead of Sword, and then Gronbay the outside from Cut Up Rough. Chief De Beers is next from Social Rule the Rail, and Just Awesome. Rooseland getting up on the inside. Further back in the field is Centile, Quality Gold right down the outside, followed by Poetic King. Relina's a long way back with about 400 left to go now. Race's Edge went to the lead from Brawny Spirit. Sword along the inside from Rooseland, and Chief De Beers under the whippers next with 250 to go now. Race's Edge in front, Sword coming at it. Brawny Spirit getting another spurt on the outside. Race's Edge still in front of Sword and Brawny Spirit, then Rooseland, followed by Kingston Bay. Sword getting up on the inside, takes the lead now. Brawny Spirit coming again. Sword, Brawny Spirit, he's lunging Brawny. He might have got there, Brawny Spirit from Sword on the inside. A photo. And
we were destined to see more of the mighty midget, Brawny Spirit, before the season was through. This was a case of compensation 12 months after the fact, with Michael Clark having lost the ride on last year's Salinger winner, Arriva, to Simon Marshall.
Do you remember the action behind the play in the Cox Plate? The favourite Danewin was knocked out of the race by the tiring Our Maze-Kay in the run to the home turn. Well, punters here were prepared to forgive and forget that failure and sent Danewin out one of the shortest priced favourites of the meeting in the Group 1 LKS McKinnon Stakes.
650 metres to go. Station Hand's going to be first round the turn from Just Apollo. El Cove on the outside coming at them three wide. Danewin sweating on a run. There's the gap as Just Apollo rolled off the fence. Oliver saw it and pushed Danewin into the clear now. At the 400, Station Hand joined by Danewin. The favourite took the lead, and 3 lengths further back it's all in fun. Starstruck's running on well. Further back is Jean Patara's Bay. Danewin in full flight for Oliver below the 200. Led by 2 lengths now to Station Hand. Starstruck. Patara's Bay and Jern are running on. Danewin clear though with about 75 to go from Starstruck and Patara's Bay, but Danewin will win it. Danewin from Patara's Bay. Starstruck just held third, I'd say, from Jern the outside, and then All Our Mob. Clear of
Danewin had a busy season after this victory. He earned invitations to the Japan Cup in late November, as well as to the inaugural Dubai World Cup in March. Although he performed well below his best in both races, Danewin should be remembered as the high-class galloper he undoubtedly was. Danewin won 5 Group 1 races, all at 2,000 metres, though he also had the speed to win at 1,200 metres. A half interest in Danewin was purchased by His Excellency Nasser Lutar of the United Arab Emirates, and the horse has been retired to Emirates Park Stud in the Upper Hunter Valley. The push to internationalise the Foster's Melbourne Cup has seen the quality of the race increase enormously. This year, we were privileged to have Europe's finest stayer of 1995, Double Trigger, in attendance. Despite his huge handicap weight of 60.5 kilograms, punters sent the Royal Ascot Gold Cup winner out a heavily backed 7-2 favourite. There was enormous interest in this year's Melbourne Cup. Vintage Crop, who won the race in 1993, was back for his 3rd attempt, and the Victoria Derby winner, Nothing Like a Dane, was there to attempt his own piece of racing history on a 3-day backup. And then there was Jern's bid for back-to-back cup wins, as well as the attempt by De Remus to emulate the mighty Let's Elope and complete the Caulfield Melbourne Cup stubble. On a cold November day, they're now under starters' orders for the $2 million 1994 Group 1 Foster's Melbourne Cup.
Racing in the Melbourne Cup. Vintage Crop just a fraction slow to move. Bullwinkle, Fewer Chosen, It's All in Fun, jumped away quickly on the inside, and Oliver's grabbed hold of De Remus, dropping across the field early. Double Take prominent, Coachwood going forward, Boart not far away. Now Double Trigger's up about 5th in the early stages as they settle down. Canane's dropped Vintage Crop right back through the field. He's a clear last now at the 2800, and Coachwood had gone to the lead. Double Take is second the outside, followed by Bullwinkle and Fewer Chosen on the inside. With those as Double Trigger, he's not far away from the leaders, followed by Darcher, and then on the outside of these horses, Stony Bay is trapped out wide from Sir Kingy. Next in the field, It's All in Fun. Yes, indeed, trapped wide. Nothing Like a Dane stormed together from the Phantom Chance, ridden along a little there. Followed by Boart, 2 lengths to Jean as they came to the post the first time. Then DePayne, Quick Ransom and Electronic. Followed by third last as De Remus, and then Count Jefferson. Vintage Crop is last of all. They're at the turn now with about 650 metres to go. Coachwood, It's All in Fun. Bullwinkle a length and a half away from Storm. Yes, indeed, winding into it out wide. And they're followed by Doremus starting a run when they sweep around the turn, and then Fewer Chosen. Nothing Like a Dane's on the inside. Coachwood turns in front. On the outside, It's All in Fun is coming at it. And here comes the Caulfield Cup winner, Doremus. Nothing Like a Dane on the inside, and then Storm from Bullwinkle and Quick Ransom, and then Boart. They're at the 300 now. Doremus whipped to the lead. The 3-year-old Nothing Like a Dane coming at him. They're clear of Coachwood, and then came Quick Ransom. It's Doremus in front inside the 200-metre mark, led by a length to Nothing Like a Dane, giving everything. Then Quick Ransom, Coachwood and Vintage Crop, but it's all Doremus at the 100. Raced away 3 lengths to Nothing Like a Dane, and then came Vintage Crop, but Doremus takes the double. Doremus 3.5. Nothing Like a Dane runs second. Vintage Crop is third.
A cup of dreams, a cup of tears. Winning jockey Damien Oliver dedicated the victory to his late father, Ray Oliver, who died in a race fall in West Australia before his son was old enough to know him. It was the 3rd Melbourne Cup for the 4 sons of former New South Wales stud owners Tony and Del Freeman. They were Lee, Richard, Anthony and Michael Freedman, and they all played a crucial role in winning one of the most memorable cups of the modern era. The brave run by the 3-year-old Nothing Like a Dane was just sensational. No horse of that age group had won the Melbourne Cup since Skipton in 1941, and 73 have tried. And what of that ageing marvel, Vintage Crop, powering home from last in the middle stages for a creditable 3rd. 2 days after the Cup, Australia's best 3-year-old fillies do battle in the Group 1 VRC Oaks. 1,000 Guineas winner Shame had apparently left her form at Caulfield, as she was most disappointing in the Group 2 Wakeful Stakes the previous Saturday. Celius, runner-up in the 1,000 Guineas and an easy winner of the Wakeful, was the filly in most demand.
And Celius is going to straighten up the leader from Tripping on the outside. Not on Friday's done it hard. Just behind them, Shame, and then Calypso Singer. Pontel Lass about 6th or 7th on the inside. Beatman for home at the 400 on Celius. Shot free in front. She raced away, Celius, from Tripping. Not on Friday. Pontel Lass in the clear, but spotting them a long break. Arctic Scent on the outside with 200 metres to go. Celius has gapped the field. She's raced 5 in front. Arctic Scent going to second, and then Pontel Lass on the inside, but it's all Celius. Celius, Darren Beatman and Pat Hyland take the Oaks easily. Celius beats Arctic Scent. 3rd is Pontel Lass. And
Celius had far too much acceleration for her rivals, giving nothing else a chance in the run home. This was a new high point in the blossoming training career of former leading jockey Pat Hyland, and yet another milestone for the reigning Premier Jockey of Sydney, Darren Beatman. The final Group 1 of the Melbourne Spring Carnival is the Nissan Stakes, a handicap over the metric mile on the 4th day of Cup Week. The favourite was the Gay Waterhouse-trained Juggler, who'd raced wide throughout before scoring an impressive win in the Group 3 Waterford Crystal Mile at Moonee Valley 2 weeks earlier.
State Taj taken to the outside. Danarani following him into the race, and they're followed by Juggler pulled to the extreme outside. Talander led for home at the 450-metre mark here. Out in the middle of the track from Island Morn. Snap down the outside, Our Marquise, and then Sober Suit. Further back is Seascape starting to get through near the inside. At the 300 and still Talander has it from Snap, Seascape, Our Marquise, Sober Suit and Juggler. Talander at the 200 in front of Snap and Seascape. On the outside, Sober Suit and Juggler. Seascape pounces on the lead at the 100 now. Seascape from Talander and Snap, and Seascape's going to do it again. Seascape's won it from Talander. Photo 3rd, Juggler or Sober Suit from Snap. And then
Seascape won the Nissan Stakes in 1995, and although he'd raced consistently in the interim, the horse had not been able to emulate that form. However, he had put the writing on the wall with his fast finishing second to Sober Suit in the Toorak Handicap. This was the first Group 1 success in the career of 46-year-old Peter Hayes, who took over from younger brother David as the trainer of the Lindsay Park Empire at the start of the season.
While the carnival wound down at Flemington, across the Tasman Sea, things were just beginning to warm up. At Riccarton on November 4, New Zealand's best fillies journey south for the Group 1 1,000 Guineas.
So as they travel round the turn now, just on 700 metres to go, and the leader is Flight Hero. Flight Hero leads the Guineas field, So Special is right with it. Down on the inside to Animos. In behind those runners we've got Byzant Star. Up on the outside for Rama Knights is coming strongly around them now. Then Esther Kelly, followed wider out by Clear Rose, Belldale Blues. At the head of the rest then is So Special, and further back to Miss Tree. But with the distance post coming up for Rama Knights has galloped strongly to the lead. Here comes a big run from Clear Rose down the udder. Look at it, finished. Clear Rose. The Ramonite's trying to kick again, but Clear Rose has gone zoom. Gone past it in a flash, wins by 3 lengths. Second.
8 years earlier on this very afternoon, Laxon had been at Flemington, leading in Empire Rose after a towering win in the McKinnon Stakes. Clear Rose, a daughter of the Chequers Stud Stallion Deputy Governor, was cleverly ridden by top Kiwi jockey Noel Harris. 4 days later, it's the boys' turn, and the Colts and Geldings do battle over the Riccarton 1600-metre circuit in the Group 1 2,000 guineas.
Round the turn they come, 500 metres to run, and Magic McGinty leads the Guineas field for home. Up on the outside, Princeton Bay, Prince Oregon between them. Straight clip the rail and wider out by Zanstar, and now coming down the outside, Pakaraban, but it's a bit far away, and getting through B-Boss. They're all over the place here, Magic McGinty, B-Boss, and further out by Zanstar, Princeton Bay, and here comes Peer Gint and Chris Johnson through the middle, but B-Boss is getting there, B-Boss and Peer Gint. There's nothing in it. B-Boss.
B-Boss won the photo all right, but unfortunately had his program halted after the discovery of a minor injury that saw him put aside until the autumn. B-Boss is part owned and trained by Jenny Vance and was handled by her Cox Plate winning husband, Bob. The next New Zealand Group 1 race for 3-year-olds is the Bayer Classic over 1,600 metres at Leven. Here, most interest centred on the return to racing of the previous season's champion 2-year-old, Ballroom Babe.
Ballroom Babe turns first. Sternstuff's gone up alongside. Has he got the head in front? Sternstuff to Ballroom Babe. Sartorial gets the inside runner. Magic McGinty, and on the outside, Prussian Blue and by Zanstar. They've got the Babe, and Sternstuff in front of the Bayer. On the outside, Prussian Blue flying. Sartorial, Animos, Prussian Blue in front. Animos the inside. Too good, Prussian Blue.
This was the most comprehensive classic win of the season, and stamped Prussian Blue as a 3-year-old of serious quality. The colt sire Chrysler is closely related to Australia's racehorse of the moment, Octagonal. Prussian Blue is trained by Davina Waddell, who successfully campaigned Isle of Man in New Zealand and Australia in the early 80s. For the final months of the year, the older stayers in New Zealand are steered towards just one race, the DB Auckland Cup at Ellerslie on New Year's Day. About 5 weeks earlier, many of the major protagonists find their way to the other major Auckland racetrack, Avondale, for the Group 1 Avondale Cup.
Pakarakistar became prominent, followed by Juice, who's galloping into the party. Love Dances had a very nice economical run throughout on the rail, as followed Commander Chevelle as they swing the corner, 400 metres to go. And Regal Chief and Tony Allen slip clear by a length and a half to Lord Majestic. Love Dance, Paris throughout Commander Chevelle and Pakarakistar and Juice. Inside the 250, Regal Chief by a length and a half. Here's Love Dance coming after him strongly, and Commander Chevelle with Pakarakistar down the outside. Regal Chief from Love Dance's pair, and Sir James is flashing home. Love Dance on the outside of Regal Chief. Love Dance, Regal Chief.
Love Dance had raced consistently but without much luck in Australia as a 3-year-old, with their placing behind Circles of Gold in the AJC Oaks her best performance. Jockey Gary Grills was the man with the winning touch here and provided this well-bred mare with a well-deserved victory at racing's highest level. Across in Perth, the annual Western Australian Racing Carnival gets underway with, wait for it, the Eat More Fruit and Vegetable Stakes. This 1,800-metre weight for age race has gone by a number of sponsors' names in recent years, but its list of past winners is testament to its quality. Great gallopers like Family of Man, Sovereign Red, Kingston Town and Vo Rogue.
Island Morn, 700 to run the leader. A length and a half of Basso. Wonder Daney Boy being niggled at. A length away for John, followed by Boheed. Then Brad's Son, followed on the outside to Starstruck Bionic Best. Foreman about to make ground around the outside, followed by Seascape. Hemmed away on the inside from Dark Czar. Placid Owen last for home signpost, but Island Morn making all haste for home. In the straight, kicked away by 3 lengths. In the bend is Island Morn by 3. From Wabasso for John. Then Starstruck Foreman down the outside from Seascape, 100 to go. Island Morn nicely clear by 2, but here comes For John, Foreman and Starstruck. For John, Foreman, Starstruck, get to Island Morn. For John in front, For John has won it, For John's won. From
Rick Quinella here to the underrated Western Australian stallion Old Spice, a son of the former leading Sedgenho stud sire, Kayaru Star. At this point of his career, For John had won 9 of his 14 starts and became the first group winner in his family for 3 generations. Here's a good horse and a great story. The 3-year-old is called Crying Game, and his trainer is an accomplished horsewoman called Angela Johnson, no stranger to the pressure that comes with Group 1 racing.
and Crying Game 700 to go. Races to the lead, a length and a half, Spider Burden. Third go the grey Unpretentious, making ground from Old Cobber. Then My Pago, Balmoral Gate peeling off, followed by Actung Baby, then Barenzo. Kim Fighter's beaten and last on the turn Djibouti. 400 from home in the Derby and Crying Game. First to see the judge about 3/4 of a length, Unpretentious. A length away then came Balmoral Gate, Old Cobber. Actung Baby sweeping around the outside, but 2:20 to go. And Crying Game leads a length and a half. Now 2, now 3. It's Crying Game by 4, 5. It's all over. Unpretentious, Actung Baby the outside, but Crying Game's going to bolt in. He's easing down to win by 4 lengths from Unpretentious, Actung Baby.
After that sensational win, Crying Game attempted to become the first horse since Bart Cummings' great stay at Diana to win both the Derby and the Perth Cup.
As they come to the home turn, getting well backed and on the bend, dropping out of it quickly, Assemblyman followed by Fimo. Bookett Serene at last is True Russian, but Crying Game is first to home in the Cup, and he gets away by 2 lengths around the bend from Bullwinkle and Ernesto, followed by Cloudy Bay. Then came Boheed, but 200 to go, and Crying Game well clear, leads by 3 lengths Ernesto and Bullwinkle, but the 3-year-old Crying Game, he's got the Cup won. Crying Game races home and wins by 4 lengths. Ernesto, Bullwinkle, Boheed fourth, followed by Darkstar.
This was perhaps the most poignant human interest of the entire racing season. Angela Johnson, under the pressure of raising a child as a single mother, almost gave training away. Almost. She toughed it out, believing that a little-known gelding called Crying Game could turn everything around for her. Not only did he achieve that, but Crying Game has set Angela up for life. Crying Game is the son of Warring Nations, an American-bred stallion who, although he could not win himself, is the son of 2 turf legends, by Triple Crown winner Seattle Slew from the great European filly Dirtle. Perth's best milers were primed to do battle in the $258,000 Railway Stakes at Ascot on December 30.
With Welcome Night, Tolo Harbour, and Sammy the Bull last around the bend, 300 to go, and Island Morn. First to see the judge, a length and a half, over Jack's or better, 4 John to third from Wabasso, followed by Colbernat, then Century Blazer, Craigie Ticket and Wide Foreman and Quadrupedante. Island Morn joined by Jack's or better. Jack's or better takes the lead from Island Morn. Here's Wabasso and Foreman down the outside. Jack's or better, Foreman is flying, but the Jack's got it.
Jack's or better is the most important of 5 stakes winners signed by the South Australian-based stallion Caravilla, champion 3-year-old sprinter of Ireland in 1983. Jack's or better is trained by George Daly, a familiar figure at racetracks all around Australia, and was ridden very cleverly by Dennis Gundry.
Logan's for horse insurance. Logan's lead the way in all types of thoroughbred insurance and are on call 24 hours a day. Many of Australia and New Zealand's leading stud masters and owners rely on Logan's for their insurance requirements. Principal Bob Logan is well known and respected throughout the industry. Logan's, always on the scene, so you'll never be in a spot. Ring the experts at Logan's. Their 24-hour hotline is 02 9909 1499. More than 4,000 kilometres away at Ellerslie, New Zealand's biggest week of racing gets underway with the Derby meeting on Boxing Day, December 26. 2 years earlier, the Dave and Paul O'Sullivan trained Popsy had been able to roll the boys in the New Zealand Herald Derby. This year, the top filly Clear Rose was given a huge chance of repeating that piece of history.
They start to sprint up front, balanced in. We've got Mr. Searchy looking to improve. Yosarian, Prussian Blue, Kiss and Power. One's gone down, and the favourite's out, and also out of the contest too is Yosarian. So they turn in now with 400 metres to go, and intervals hit the front from Sartorial and Royson. In behind them, Mr. Searchy winding up with balance at the 250 though, and Royson's in front from interval in the Derby. Sartorial, Mr. Searchy, a rate run by Clear Rose out wider. Royson's in front from interval. Out wide, Clear Rose is coming home pretty quickly. Royson's in front though in the Derby, and Royson has scored in the Derby from Clear Rose. Third is
the cash went to Royson, but the majority of the kudos went the way of Clear Rose, who looked as certainly beaten after being badly checked before the home turn. Royson, to his credit, kept on strongly in the straight after being enterprisingly ridden by Vinnie Colgan. Cambridge breeders Jim and Jennifer Campen were responsible for both first and second. The Melbourne Cup may be the race that stops the nation in Australia. In New Zealand, its counterpart is the Auckland Cup, run over 3,200 metres at Ellerslie on New Year's Day. Following his convincing win in the Group 2 Waikato Times Gold Cup at Te Rapa 3 weeks earlier, the lightly raced 5-year-old Senator was a clear top choice among punters.
The field in the Group 1 DB Draft Auckland Cup of 96 make the corner, 450 to go, and Cezanne's tackled by Regal Chief, who went to the lead and shot clear. Regal Chief now to Cezanne. Here come the challengers, Wigan Prince, Tom, Commander Chevelle, Touching Grace. Maxim's threading its way through. Regal Chief's in front of the cup by 2 or 3 lengths. Juice with a big run, and Wigan Prince is coming after them, followed then by Maxim, Wigan Prince and Senator. This is the run. The Senator's got it. The Senator, great ride, Mark Sweeney has won the cup. Maxim second, Wigan Prince third.
A fairy tale result for 58-year-old dairy farmer Jack Timms, who had been extraordinarily patient with his 17-hand son of the Canadian import, Sound Reason. Senator was ridden by the emerging star in New Zealand's riding ranks, Mark Sweeney, reputed to be the best apprentice since Jim Cassidy. In common with the Melbourne Cup winner Doremus, Senator is out of a mare by the renowned stamina influence Zamazan. If the Auckland Cup is the ultimate race for a New Zealand stable, then the pinnacle for sprinters is the Group 1 Railway Handicap, run over 1,200 metres at Ellerslie on the same afternoon.
Into the straight, 400 metres to go, and Red sent by a length and a quarter on the outside. So Keen, Chosen Aces coming out after them. They're followed by Inside Newt, Crisp and Clear and Showtime, the race favourite. Jazzac, a fair bit to do. Red sent in front of So Keen and Chosen Ace. Inside the 100 though, Red sent is holding So Keen. Lotus coming home and has gone whoosh, and it's all over the railway. But Lotus scores from Red Scent and So Keen.
At this stage of his career, Australians had not seen the best of Bruce Wallace's willful chestnut gelding Star Dancer, a son of 1988 Golden Slipper hero Star Watch. But on the home soil, this gifted galloper was a short-priced tote favourite.
Followed by Abaddon and Silver Chalice are going for home, and the leader is Lord Majestic from Beijing and Pakaraka Star. Star Dancer still there on the inside, and Abaddon's coming into it. Pakaraka Star hit the front two. Star Dancer with them as Lord Majestic. Yes, indeed, he's not far away, but Star Dancer quickly sped through on the inside. He's jumping fair through his bridle, Star Dancer. Yes, indeed, it's coming hard day, but Star Dancer has lasted the beat. Yes, indeed, Silver Chalice.
Star Dancer had won the Auckland Classic for Wallace and jockey Grant Cooksley in 1995 as well, so on that occasion he had significantly more up the sleeve. The revelation of the race, however, was the outstanding performance from Yes Indeed, whose training had been taken over by Mike Moroney. The New Zealand racing caravan moved south to Trentham in the second half of January for the Wellington Racing Club's fabulous Summer Cup. The Group 1 sprinters, who had featured in Ellerslie's Railway Stakes, traditionally seek a rematch in the Group 1 Telegraph Handicap. And naturally, the brilliant Loader once again put his hand up.
And down to the 500 metres, Sunspot Jazzac gets the run on the inside. Showtime between them, and then Red Scent straight clip. Moonlight's down the outside. Renee starting to run home pretty well. Wider out Atlantic Brave, snap right to the outside. Loader in behind them, starting to run on. Sunspot in front. Moonlight's trying to reach it on the outside. Here's Snap and Loader through the centre. Here he goes. Loader gets another Group 1. He's brilliant. Loader too good.
With 11 wins and around 300,000 New Zealand dollars to his credit, Loader is a sprinter deserving respect. The gelding is the best product to date of the Australian-bred sprinter Pre-Catalan, the son of English Dewhurst Sprinter Stakes winner and successful New South Wales sire, Lunchtime. The New Zealand Oaks is one of the most important races on the calendar for the country's valuable thoroughbred breeding industry. Mike Moroney stablemates from Matamata had all the aces here, with his high-class Western Symphony filly, the Lions Road, and the well-bred Grosvenor daughter, Alacrity.
Clear Rose goes forward, 500 to travel as they swing in. Here Dysky's just in front of Altrista. Anamos looking for a way out. The Lions roars after them now. Clear Rose is starting to hit top gear, and Alacrity's getting into the clear. The Lions roar in front from Altrista and then Alacrity. I don't think Clear Rose will do it today. The Lions roar in front of the Oaks. The stablemate Alacrity is coming after it strongly. Alacrity to the Lions roar, who's doing it all wrong, and Alacrity wins the Oaks. Mike Moroney's gone out at it.
Moroney is certainly the emerging force in New Zealand training ranks, and now has a successful satellite stable operating out of Adelaide. Alacrity is the 33rd stakes winner for the marvellous Sir Tristram stallion Grosvenor, one of New Zealand's most consistent sources of classic blood. At 300,000 New Zealand dollars, the Wellington Cup is second only to the Auckland Cup as New Zealand's richest race. Following his sensational win at Ellerslie, the towering stayer, the Senator, was a strong first fancy, with Yes Indeed's tremendous second in the Auckland Classic ensuring him of wide support as well.
And here we've got now on the outside, Slightly Dangerous goes up and hits the front early in the run home. Yes Indeed is out and after it now. Senator's on the inside with his run. Wider out then Wilbury Star and Magnet Bay starting to run on. Yes Indeed in front. From now on the outside we've got Magnet Bay, Senator over on the inside, and then Chase Me Charlie, but Yes Indeed in front. Magnet Bay's trying to flash it at the last little bit. Second last year, first in 96, and a salute from Jock and Yes Indeed taking the cup.
There were plenty of punters who were prepared to risk their cash on Yes Indeed in the 1995 Melbourne Cup, won by Doremus. The gelding recouped his expenses with a second to Count Chivas in the Sandown Cup. But it wasn't until the Kiwi summer that the 6-year-old really came into his own. Yes Indeed was ridden by Jock Cadogan, joining a select band of riders to have won both the Auckland and Wellington Cups. The big metric miles, like the Doncaster and the Epsom, are an important part of Australian racing, and it's no different in New Zealand. The first of the big Kiwi 1600-metre races is the Thorndon Mile on the final day of the Trentham Carnival.
Here they've got 550 metres to travel, and we've got Perfect World joined by Mark II Zephyr. Covered in grey showing up on the outside of these. Deeper out the baldy face of Happiness. In behind them, Pakaraka Star and then Avedon from a mile back. Perfect World now to Covered in grey on the outside. Then we've got Waitaha poking up in behind them. Avedon starting to get home as to Happiness across the track. Happiness Covered in grey, Perfect World and Avedon on the outside. Happiness one given to Avedon and Happiness wins the Thorndon. Happiness has done it to Avedon third, I wouldn't be sure.
This was the 9th win in just 19 starts for Happiness, a daughter of Coolmore's well-performed dual hemisphere stallion, Bluebird. Their dam is Pride of Chantilly, a daughter of the mighty Sir Tristram and a half-sister to one of New Zealand's great fillies, Young Ida. Happiness was trained by the master horseman Noel Eales and ridden to victory by Bruce Collins.
Raceplay presents the story of two of Australia's most courageous racehorses. Super, Better, Best. The saga of Superimpose and Better Loosen Up. A video to treasure forever.
For express delivery, phone Raceplay on 03 9699 4188 and quote your credit card. Tommy Smith, Colin Hayes and Bart Cummings, Australia's trio of record-breaking trainers. The reason for their success and much more is revealed on Raceplay's latest video, Dominators. Phone now and place your order for Dominators.
After the Melbourne Cup Carnival, most of the top horses head to pasture for a short break before being focused on the autumn riches in Sydney and Melbourne. Australia's first Group 1 of the new year is what used to be known as the William Reid Stakes, now titled the Australia Stakes. 12 months earlier, this was the race which saw Hariba explode away with one of the biggest individual performances we've seen since the era of Vane. What would 1996 unfold?
And it's Brawny Spirit, 1.5, Sequalo and Strategic starting to join in quickly. 2 lengths further back, Race's Edge, 4th from Poetic King. Up to the bend, Brawny Spirit, a half length in front of Strategic. Sequalo, the centre, under pressure, they're rolling out. And Race's Edge has got the rails run at the 200-metre mark. They straighten Strategic out wide. Race to Brawny Spirit from Race's Edge. But the 3-year-old explodes away, Strategic. He's home and hose, 3 in front. Rancho Scooter second from Brawny Spirit. All Strategic by 3. Rancho...
This was a fitting result for some astute planning by trainer John Hawkes, who realised that this would be Strategic's best opportunity to score a Group 1 win. The chestnut son of former champion sprinter Zedate accelerated brilliantly when called on by Darren Gauci, and he didn't give his rivals a look. The 1995 CF4 Stakes at Sandown Park had seen Horse of the Year Jeune feature in a stunning comeback. This year, the race was hailed as a head-to-head between Jeune and his Horse of the Year predecessor, Mahogany.
Sprint on now into the straight. Race's Edge, the leader, Mahogany, got out off the rail as Circles of Gold didn't come round the turn well, and Mahogany has Race's Edge in his sights. Hall went for the whip. Race's Edge led by 2 lengths. He's got away. Race's Edge got 3 in front now from Mahogany. Count Shivers running on the 3rd. Journer's still second last, but Race's Edge all the way. He's 5 in front of Mahogany and Count Shivers, then Circles of Gold. Race's Edge, what a win! 6 lengths.
Of the tactical challenges that were presented to the jockeys in this race, only Malcolm Pay emerged. Pay, a heavyweight jockey with restricted opportunities, was prepared to go to the front and then bank on a brilliant last 600 metres being sufficient to keep the big names at bay. It sure was, with Mahogany and Jeune looking distinctly flat-footed when Racer's Edge instantly lifted the tempo. The Golden Slipper is undoubtedly the ultimate prize for any owner or breeder who has a potential stallion. There are few better bred colts than the 1995 Slipper winner Flying Spur, but the Danehill 3-year-old's mixed form had been something of a concern to trainer Lee Friedman during the spring. The step up to 1,600 metres in the Cadbury Australian Guineas gave Flying Spur an ideal opportunity to re-establish himself.
In the straight, Flying Spur, the leader from Salius, and Video Prince trying to make a line of 3, and they're followed then by Stork and a gap to Mad Hatter with about 300 to go. Flying Spur and Salius together from Video Prince and then Stork. It's Video Prince running a big race going up now to take the lead from Salius and Flying Spur. Video Prince, Salius, Flying Spur, what a go, a three-way go now. Salius and Flying Spur reach the lead again. Salius, Flying Spur, Salius, Flying Spur, Flying Spur and nose to Salius. The colt.
Before we continue with the Melbourne Autumn Carnival, it's important to look at two major races in New Zealand. The Cambridge Jockey Club's February meeting at the Te Rapa racecourse has become increasingly important in recent years. Their showcase race is the Wakanui Stud International Stakes, a Group 1 race decided over 2,000 metres at weight for age.
Homeward bound 400 metres out in the International, and it's Lord Majestic, the leader now from Royston, a length and a half away. Viali looking to get out, now getting the gap, one off the rail, and Silver Chalice desperately in need of room on the inside. Wider out Penwood Mill at the 200 metres. Lord Majestic, look at Silver Chalice, she's got that gap on the inside from Viali, then Everdon late. Lord Majestic won't lay down, he's still in front for Earl Harrison. Viali lunging, but too late. And then Lord Majestic, the veteran, got there.
Lord Majestic is a 7-year-old in his 6th season of racing. The gelding was very slow to find his feet as a racehorse, winning none from 7 as a 2-year-old and 1 from 15 at 3. With maturity came success, although nothing like this. The Waikato Draft Sprint is run the same afternoon as the Cambridge International and is one of New Zealand's 2 Group 1 races conducted over 1,400 metres at weight for age. This was a high-class field, and with names very familiar to Australian racegoers: Snap, B-Boss, Perfect World, Corndale, Kingston Bay, and the talented Allegro.
Up towards the turn they come, 500 metres out in the Waikato Draft Sprint of 96, and the leader is B-Boss on the inside from Chosen Ace, working round out wider, Rua Kiwi Ruby coming with it, Perfect World, Allegro Campton behind them, further back Warpath, Kingston Bay, Corndale angling out into the clear, and down the outside comes Snap at the 300 metres across the track. B-Boss tackled by Allegro, coming after them now, here Snap down the outside with Corndale, Kingston Bay, and behind them needs space at the 150, Allegro's got the lead, here comes Corndale, Kingston Bay and Snap. Allegro's holding them. Kingston Bay going to it short of the post. They hit it. Oh, give it to Allegro. Allegro got there from Kingston Bay, and third was Corndale. And behind.
This was the 3rd career Group 1 for Allegro, who'd won the Terrace Regency and Captain Cook Stakes as a 3-year-old, as well as finishing second to Shaskay in the Canterbury Guineas. Allegro is trained by the husband and wife team of Chris and Colleen Wood and was ridden by Gary Grills. New Zealand's other 1,400-metre weight for age race is run just 2 weeks later at Otaki. The Terrace Regency Stakes has been a high-quality race over a number of years and is frequently appointed to the valuable autumn races in Sydney.
Diablo Girl travelling okay, is trying to get away. A couple of lengths in front. From now, Allegro pressured up on the inside of Gypsy Wise, Last Snap and Corndale to the outside. Diablo Girl, the southern mare's got a pretty good break on them. She's 4 lengths in front with 200 to go. And Diablo Girl is showing them an absolute clean pair of heels here. Snap and Corndale getting home well, but Diablo Girl has blown them off the racecourse. Diablo Girl, Group 1 in style by 5.
Only a small field for the Terrace Regency, but the result couldn't have been more emphatic, with Diablo Girl making some of the biggest names in New Zealand racing look second-rate. This was a second Group 1 for the season to the evergreen Bruce Compton, who earlier took the Thorndon Mile on Happiness. The other major race for the sprinter milers in New Zealand at this crucial part of the season is the Captain Cook Stakes over 1,600 metres at weight for age on the spacious Trentman Circuit.
and still Diablo Girl's the leader. She'll turn first in the TVNZ Captain Cook Stakes of 96. Marquise after over on the outside, then Allegro. Snaps looking to work into the clear, and then Corndale over on the outside. It's still Diablo Girl from Marquise. Allegro the inside. Corndale starting to run home pretty well over on the outside. Marquise picking up Diablo Girl. Corndale over on the outside trying to claim them. Snaps trying to dive between them late. Marquise in front. Marquise fresh up will get the Group 1. What an effort. Great training feat, Laurie Laxton. Marquise.
This win by our Marquise, as she's registered in Australia, was of special significance to thoroughbred breeders in this part of the world. She's a daughter of the most influential brood mare of the modern era, 8 Carat, and becomes that incredible mare's 4th Group 1 winner. The others are Carpstad, Diamond Lover, and the new sensation of the Australian turf, the 1995-96 Horse of the Year, Octagonal.
The winner of the previous race has won a bonus for all connections. Vobis and Super Vobis events pay big cash bonuses for qualified winners. Vobis, Super Vobis and Nissan, keeping Victoria ahead of the rest.
You really know the Melbourne Autumn Carnival is underway when Lightning Stakes rolls around. This traditional weight-for-age contest up the famous Flemington Straight has a history rich in superior winners. It's also the first leg of a triple crown of Group 1 races for the sprinters, a treble last won by the mighty Scalacci in 1992.
With 550 metres to go, Brawny Spirit in front. Our Maze K is second. The outside, Sequalo the rail. Just behind them, Quality Gold. You remember, Cut Up Rough and Gold Ace wider out. York has had to feel for our Maze K here. With about 300 metres to go, Brawny Spirit in front of Sequalo. Our Maze K is hard ridden third now. And then Gold Ace, who's sweeping on the outside. Sequalo's hit the front of the inside from Brawny Spirit. Gold Ace, our Maze K is struggling. It's Sequalo in front. Gold Ace is mowing him down. At every stride, Gold Ace grabbed the lead and won it. Flying Strategic the outside, or Sequalo for second.
The second leg of the Triple Crown is the Oakley Plate, which this year was transferred to Sandown during the reconstruction of the Caulfield racetrack. The Lee Freedman trained drum was very heavily backed by professional punters right around Australia.
Strung out at the bend, Barcara just in front of Legal Agent with the rail and Street Talk the outside. You remember 4th round the turn, and they're followed then by Always a Chance. Back behind those horses, Petita Moore getting up on the inside and then Drum to the middle of the course, followed by Centile. Street Talk, Barcara near the 300 of the leaders from Legal Agent gone. Petita Moore's running on powerfully now. Petita Moore hits the front. You remember now Drum down the outside, but Petita Moore dashed 2 lengths in front. Drum is cutting it back now. Drum getting to Petita Moore. Drum grabbed the lead and Drum has won it. Prince Marauding flashed home for second.
Yes, it's that man Freedman again. But this time his Group 1 partner was Stephen King, beginning what proved to be a happy association with Freedman for the remainder of the autumn. The Oakley Plate provided a second Group 1 quinella for New Haven Park's 1987 Golden Slipper winner, Marauding, the son of the mighty Sir Tristram. Flying Spur's memorable victory over the outstanding filly Salius saw Connections reconsider their position on his retirement. The Danehill Colt's next assignment was the Weight for Age Futurity Stakes over 1,400 metres at Flemington. In the 15 minutes before this race, the betting ring reverberated with an avalanche of money for the top Kiwi galloper, Star Dancer.
Round the turn, and Flying Spur first for home in the Futurity from Stork. In behind them then Hurricane Sky on the rail, and then Star Dancer followed by Dana Singer. And next Strategic, he's pulled to the outside and he's coming on with his run. Flying Spur's done it hard, he's the leader. He's pulled the whip at the 300 from Hurricane Sky in behind him. On the outside, Stork and Star Dancer. And now Strategic is starting to wind up, but Star Dancer got to Flying Spur, who's fighting on well on the inside. It's Flying Spur, the inside, Star Dancer from Strategic. Flying Spur and Star Dancer, who's drifting out. Star Dancer getting to Flying Spur, and Star Dancer won it from Flying Spur by a neck. Buzz off, flashed home, grabbed third from
Star Dancer had never previously raced quite as well away as at home, but the New Zealand punters certainly made bookmakers pay for their lack of respect here, landing a 10-1 to 9-2 betting plunge. Star Dancer had been trained throughout his career by Bruce Wallace, who was ridden here by Sydney's champion rider for the past 2 seasons, Darren Beaton. 7 days after the Futurity, the best sprinters assembled at Flemington for the Newmarket Handicap. With Gold Ace and Drum having won the Lightning and Oakley Plate respectively, most interest centred on whether the fabulous Freedman stable could once again complete the Sprinters' Triple Crown.
Gold Ace now from in second placing Mobile Lincoln. Primacy is right there. Behind them is Strategic and Petita Moore, and then came Centile, Power and Glory, and a fair break to All Our Mob. Out on the grandstand, Brawny Spirit, the leader from Del Sol, and Sequala is coming at them with Drum coming down the middle of the course. Gold Ace races to the 250. He's 3 lengths in front of Primacy and Strategic, and on the grandstand, Brawny Spirit and Sequalo. I think they're in front out here. It's Brawny Spirit, Sequalo, Brawny Spirit and Sequalo. Brawny Spirit taking the lead. Brawny Spirit, he's won it from Sequalo.
The vagaries of the Flemington Straight 6 conspired to defeat Gold Ace, who beat everything around him on the inside of the track, but finished unplaced. The straight track specialist, Brawny Spirit, pulled off his 3rd major at headquarters, having previously taken the Sullinger Stakes in the spring and the Ascot Vale Stakes as a 3-year-old. The trainer here, Mick Winks, has been described as a modern-day Tommy Woodcock, that lovable horseman who strapped the mighty Farlap and later trained the Grand Stayer Reckless. Once again, Brawny Spirit's winning rider was Michael Clark. With a prize money boost to $850,000, the Victoria Racing Club succeeded in attracting the top New South Wales 3-year-olds, Nothing Like a Dane and Saintly, to Melbourne for the Group 1 Weight for Age Australian Cup.
Homeward bound now, Nothing Like a Dane at the 600-metre mark. Will just be the leader around the turn from Campaign Warrior. Paris Lane 3 out. 4 wide is Saintly. Star Dancer just behind them when they corner. Then Circles of Gold, Racer's Edge and Vialia from Peep on the Sly. Next Zern. 350 to go now. Nothing Like a Dane in front. He's had to go for the whip. Campaign Warrior and Saintly coming at them on the outside now. It's Saintly and Nothing Like a Dane, the 2 3-year-olds from Campaign Warrior, Vialia, Circles of Gold and Peep on the Sly. But it's all Saintly. He's raced away. 11 for Bart. Saintly by about 4 lengths. He gaps them and wins it easily. Vialia or Peep on the Sly for the Miners. A photo. Circles.
This was undoubtedly one of the revelations of the autumn, with Saintly travelling wide all the way before clearing out to make a high-class weight for age field look second-rate. Australian racing is like a national circuit of group races. If the ultimate is Melbourne in the spring, then Sydney in the autumn is surely a close second. The Carnival had some quality curtain races in February, but moved into full stride at the Warwick Farm meeting on March 2 with the running of the Chipping Norton Stakes.
Into the straight, Kingston Bay 3 deep, Dane Win in the centre, 10 are on the fence, and they turn together clear of Juggler, who's flat to the boards but getting out after them, and Old Pharaoh right out of the middle of the track is running a bit of a race. Juggler hit the lead past the 200 from Kingston Bay. Dane Win's gone, and Juggler sprinted away 100 metres out. He's going to bolt in. Juggler racing away is going to make it 2 wins in 7 days on the Warwick Farm track. A brilliant win to Juggler.
We were destined to see much more of this winner Juggler, his trainer Gay Waterhouse and winning rider Larry Cassidy. Before we rip right into the Sydney Autumn racing, let's relive the top weight for age race across the Tasman, the Group 1 Trackside Sales Stakes at Ellerslie.
8 lengths first to last, 500 metres left to go. And Earl Harrison and Lord Majestic clearly a length and a half to back on track. Royson and behind him Abaddon, followed Silver Chalice, Ligero, and Yes Indeed. Round the bend, 400 metres to go, and it's Lord Majestic. Trackside Sales Stakes, the Group 1 event, but here's the race favourite back on track, followed by Royson, and behind him Silver Chalice. As they race in 250 to go, Royson's hit the front. Silver Chalice back on track, Lord Majestic further back to Abaddon. Royson ran in sharply. Silver Chalice meantime out in the centre of the track from Royson, getting going once again. Royson has won the Trackside Sales Stakes from Silver Chalice and Eckaway. 2 lengths.
This victory completed a significant historical double for Roy Sin, who had taken the New Zealand Herald Derby back on December 26th. Roy Sin was ridden here by top apprentice Vinnie Colgan, but the proven big occasion jockey Brian York was booked for Roy Sin's upcoming Sydney engagements. Cast your mind back 6 years and let's relive a precious memory. The race is the 1990 Australian Guineas at Flemington, and the horse to look for is a Big Bay colt in blue colours with a blue and white striped cap. His name is Zabeel.
Then Zabeel starting to wind up, coming home pretty well. And over on the outside was Academian, 250 to run. It's Zabeel. Zabeel has ranged up on the outside to hit the front from Ark Regal. Stylish Century can't go on. Academian finishing on pretty well. But Zabeel kept going, has kicked away about 2 lengths to Ark Regal, and down the outside Academian. And it's Zabeel for the Cadbury Australian Guineas. He wins it well. Zabeel 2-0.
Zabeel retired to start alongside his famous sire, the great Sir Tristram, at Patrick Hogan's Cambridge stud in New Zealand. And from his very first crop, he came up with a brown colt just as handsome as himself. This magnificent animal is octagonal. He was Australia's champion 2-year-old last season, and this year has emerged with 5 more Group 1 wins to be unchallenged as Australia's Horse of the Year. The Cox Plate is a career highlight for most horses. For this incredible colt, it was effectively a seasonal starting point. After a well-deserved summer layoff, Octagonal returned to combat at Warwick Farm with the Group 2 Hobartville Stakes for a highly publicised clash with an old rival, the Gay Waterhouse train Nothing Like a Dane.
Nothing Like a Dane is in front, 100 out. His Octagonal down the outside, going to him quickly, but Nothing Like a Dane, just like the Victoria Derby, is still in front, and he's done it again. Nothing Like a Dane, he beat Octagonal.
It was so close, but the Great Dane won the day. Two things happened before we saw Octagonal again. Firstly, owners Jack and Bob Ingham booked their favourite jockey, Darren Beedman, to ride Octagonal through the autumn. Then, trainer John Hawkes stepped the brown colt up to 1,900 metres of the Group 1 Canterbury Guineas.
Octagonal's under pressure coming to the turn. Super Slew the leader. Darren Beedman hard at work on Octagonal on the outside. Bravo Zulu in third place, and then Falante, who looks to be making heavy weather of it, and wide on the track. Payback Time. Future King is running on well. In the straight, Octagonal flat to the boards to head. Super Slew. They're clear of Falante. Bravo Zulu on the fence. Octagonal full bore. Falante is having another go at him. Octagonal in front. Beedman's got to ride desperately. Falante can't quite pick him up, and Octagonal fell in to win the Guineas.
We've seen Nothing Like a Dane winning the Spring Champion Stakes, the Victoria Derby and the Hobartville Stakes. And a short time back, we saw the Bart Cummings train Saintly treat a hot weight for age field in the Australian Cup with sheer contempt. When Nothing Like a Dane, Saintly and Octagonal and the Kiwi colt Roy Sin all announced their intention to head to Rose Hill, we had the Guineas of the decade.
Octagonal, three deep, is also under heavy pressure, and then Falante and Saintly is taken to the extreme outside as they turn for home. In the straight, Delinquent the leader, Nothing Like a Dane looming up on the outside. Octagonal and Saintly right out in the middle of the track. Nothing Like a Dane hit the lead at the 200, but Octagonal has gobbled him up on the outside. Saintly is going to have the last shot at them. Octagonal just in front of Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly on the outside. Octagonal just in front as they get near home. Saintly lunged. Octagonal wins the Guineas from either Saintly on the outside or Nothing Like a Dane, which kicked again. You couldn't have written the script any better than that.
Wow, what a heart stopper. Octagonal then backed up 7 days later to take on the best available older horses over 2,400 metres of weight for age in the Mercedes-Benz Classic.
Octagonal is tacking onto the main bunch. Beedman looked as though he was going to get between horses, but changes his mind, and he is still tracking Saintly as they turn for home. Circles of Gold has got a big lead turning the corner. Circles of Gold about 4 in front of Alcove, Count Chivas, Electronic, Saintly and Octagonal. Here come the 3-year-olds down the outside. Circles of Gold in front at the 200. Count Chivas in the centre. Octagonal, Saintly's gone. It's Count Chivas and Octagonal. Octagonal headed Count Chivas close to home in the Mercedes Classic, and Octagonal, desperately ridden by Beedman, is drawing away. He'll win. Octagonal has won brilliantly.
And so the stage was set for the most publicised AJC Australian Derby of the modern era. Octagonal's charter was an awesome one. No 3-year-old had won the 3-year-old Triple Crown of the Canterbury Guineas, Rosehill Guineas and AJC Derby since the race was transferred from the spring to the autumn in 1979.
Octagonal about to take off. 3 deep is starting to pick up these leaders as they near the turn, followed by Magic and then Reasons, Peep on the Sly and Skybow tailed off under the whip as they come around the turn, where Nothing Like a Dane takes the lead. Nothing Like a Dane hit the front up the rise. Falante's the first to go after him. Here comes Saintly with Octagonal down the extreme outside, out after them now. Falante headed Nothing Like a Dane, further out Saintly, and here comes the big O. Octagonal with the last run at them. Falante, Saintly and Octagonal, they've come away from Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly and Octagonal. Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal. He gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the Derby.
What a magnificent race. What a big heart. Darren Beedman thought Octagonal was well beaten at the 600 metres, but the champ kept on lifting. Larry Cassidy, who was judged in some quarters as having ridden the race of the Carnival on Saintly, later said he thought he had the race won at the 100 metres. But, he added, when you're racing against Octagonal, the race is only half over. The Derby was Octagonal's 6th career Group 1 and made him Australasia's greatest ever stakes-winning 3-year-old. The colt was bred by Patrick and Justine Hogan at Cambridge Stud and purchased by the Ingham brothers at the 1994 New Zealand National Yearling Sale on the advice of trainer John Hawkes and their bloodstock manager Trevor Lobb. Shane Dyer was on board when Octagonal won the Cox Plate, but all 4 autumn Group 1s were achieved under the guidance of the champion Sydney rider of the past 2 seasons, Darren Beedman. Yes, Octagonal is Australasia's best 3-year-old since the legendary Kingston Town 16 seasons earlier. All hail the Big O.
the Victorian Racing Calendar, published monthly and carrying vital information to the racing professional. The Victorian Racing Calendar is a proven advertising success. It gets results because it goes directly to, and most importantly is read by, your target market. For all advertising inquiries in the Victorian Racing Calendar, contact Julian Sullivan on Melbourne 9258 4666. Logan's for horse insurance. Logan's lead the way in all types of thoroughbred insurance and are on call 24 hours a day. Many of Australia and New Zealand's leading stud masters and owners rely on Logan's for their insurance requirements. Principal Bob Logan is well known and respected throughout the industry. Logan's, always on the scene, so you'll never be in a spot. Ring the experts at Logan's. Their 24-hour hotline is 02 9909 1499. The $300,000 Coolmore Classic is Australia's only Group 1 for fillies and mares. It's run under handicap conditions over 1,500 metres at Rose Hill and is invariably a wide-open affair. This year's renewal was no exception.
Further back, Mad Chevelle, Destruct, So Keen, Vital Consent, Light Up the World, Isolder and Futile. Heads a turn for home to land of the leader. Chlorophyll has raced up to grab her. 2 lengths away, Shame about to be hooked out. Peruzzi under the whip, not doing enough. And then Bionic Besson dipping at the 200. Chlorophyll race to the lead in the Max Lee's colours. Shame about to get to second. Bionic Bess wide out, running on strongly. But Chlorophyll is clear with 100 to go. This mare has grown a leg in recent weeks and she's going to bolt in. It's Chlorophyll, a brilliant winner over Bionic Bess. Shame will get third in front of Talander. So Keen.
When Neville Begg retired from Sydney racing to take up a contract in Hong Kong, Australia lost its acknowledged master trainer of fillies and mares. Newcastle's Max Lees may be on the verge of taking that title. Max has now won the Coolmore Classic 4 times. The Victoria Racing Club's decision to boost prize money for the Australian Cup at Flemington had to have a negative effect somewhere. One of the racers that felt the backwash of this decision was the $300,000 Group 1 Ranvet Stakes at Rose Hill.
Straightening up, Burrito first into the straight in the Ranvet. He got away again from Pharaoh. Electronic under very heavy pressure between horses, followed by Hello Dale and further out the Penny and Kingston Bay. To the 200, Burrito the leader. Hello Dale has popped off the fence and she's the first to claim her stablemate, but here comes Electronic. Hello Dale grabbed the lead. Electronic is charging. Hello Dale and Electronic. Electronic got the upper hand close to home. Gee, this is a tough mare. Electronic coming away on the line to beat Hello Dale with Alcove.
This win and a subsequent victory in the Group 2 Prime Minister's Cup at the Gold Coast in May saw Electronic stake earnings taken beyond the $1 million mark. Electronic was purchased after having won 1 start as a tried horse out of New Zealand by clients of trainer Gai Waterhouse. Before taking you to our next Group 1 race, let's introduce you to a very consistent and well-bred 3-year-old Encores from the Warwick Farm stables of John Hawkes.
Encores is stuck between horses with not a lot of room as they turn for home, where Confiscate and Hippopotamus are the 2 leaders. Boss looks confident on Catalan opening. He pops the question now. To the 200, Confiscate got the better of Hippopotamus. Catalan opening about to pounce on his Encores into the clear with the last shot at them. Confiscate, Kidman's Cove is getting through in the middle. Encores and Kidman's Cove have come away. They're fighting it out. Encores on the outside going a shade the better, and Encores beat Kidman's Cove. Catalan opening.
The major race for sprinter milers over the Sydney Turf Club's Autumn Carnival is the George Ryder Stakes, conducted over 1,500 metres at Weight for Age. George Ryder, former STC chairman, is remembered as the father of the Golden Slipper.
Jugglers midfield between horses, flat out as they come around the turn. Straightening up and Flying Spur, the leader, over Ravada on the outside, and then Magic Road, followed by March Hare. Further back, Kingston Bay and Juggler to the 200, and Ravada has headed Flying Spur. March Hare running on boldly, followed by Magic Road, and Encores from a long way back, and Mahogany charging home late. Ravada's in front, 100 out over Flying Spur. The 3-year-old Encores is absolutely motoring to the line, but he won't get there. Ravada beat the fast finishing Encores. Flying Spur third.
Remember the strength of the form in the Caulfield Guineas? The race was won by the Kiwi champion Al Maskey, with Octagonal steaming home for third. Splitting them was this fella, the Brian Guy trained Ravada, who claimed his second Group 1 win with a clear-cut victory. Sydney stages $4 million events each year, and the last of these is the $1 million BMW Doncaster Handicap, an open-age Group 1 contest over 1,600 metres at Randwick.
Magic Road and Ravada, the two leaders. Our Marquis in third place. Nick's Joy on the fence, followed by Sprint By, and then Dana Singer. Pharaoh carted wide on the turn. Jugglers on the fence behind a big bunch of horses, followed by All Our Mob, and then Bionic Besson. Well back as Shame as they come over the rise. It's Ravada getting to a narrow lead over Magic Road. Dana Singer coming after them. Old Pharaoh running a bit of a race. Ravada, Magic Road coming again. Dana Singer getting to them. Sprint By coming through in the centre. Dana Singer looks to have got to a narrow lead over Sprint By as they get near home. Juggler is flying late. Sprint By wins the Doncaster.
What a triumph for Gay Waterhouse, winning this $1 million race for the third successive year. An amazing accomplishment for this woman whose training career is just 5 years old. Sprint By is raced in partnership by Gay's father, Tommy Smith, with major Newcastle identity Barry Gaylor. The sprinters' highlight in Sydney is the Group 1 Galaxy, decided over 1,100 metres at Randwick on Easter Monday. Despite the presence of high-class local sprinter Moss Rocket, punters unleashed a torrent of financial support for the Lee Freedman-trained galloper, Gold Ace.
A mile back is Gold Ace with captainly monopolised Drummond. Encores is absolute last as they come around the corner. Into the straight, Sword with the inside running shares the lead with Blazing Aspect, 3 deep Sequalo, and then Zed Ritz, Legal Agent on the fence, followed by Krista Moss Rocket further out as they come over the rise, and then Gold Ace. On top of the hill, Sequalo put his head in front of Blazing Aspect. Moss Rocket pounces. Moss Rocket takes the lead past the 200. Here comes Gold Ace. Gold Ace is after Moss Rocket. He's got him. Gold Ace sweeps to the lead 100 metres out, and he is annihilating them. Gold Ace is racing away, and he bolts away with the Galaxy. Identikit got up for second. Third's very tight.
A patient ride had its reward when Gold Ace fairly sizzled over the Randwick 1,100 metres in a sensational 1:2.8. This was another superlative Group 1 exhibition from jockey Stephen King, with the winner's polish having been professionally applied by the Group 1 genius, Lee Freedman. The AJC tried a slightly altered program format for this year's Autumn Carnival and came up trumps by putting the all-age stakes back to Sydney Cup Day and the Queen Elizabeth a further 7 days later. The all-aged attracted a high-class entry, including the Doncaster winner, Sprint By.
Stony Bay is rounded up quickly by Flying Spur. Flying Spur leads into the straight over Kidman's Cove and the old boy Pharaoh on the outside. Followed by Sprint By, then Catalan Opening and Our Marquis as they top the rise. Stephen King sitting as quiet as a mouse on Flying Spur. Now he says go, and last year's Golden Slipper winner exploded clear. Sprint By getting into second place, followed by Catalan Opening and Kidman's Cove, but it's all Flying Spur. Group 1 win number 68 coming up for the Freedmans, and another big one for Stephen King. Flying Spur trotted in the all-age stakes. Sprint By got second. Catalan Opening.
This was arguably the finest individual performance by any horse for the entire autumn, with the exciting stallion prospect Flying Spur absolutely busting his rivals with a breathtaking piece of acceleration on the home turn. Flying Spur, with a superb international pedigree, is now the centre of huge demand as a sire at Chatswood Stud, Avenel in Victoria. In New Zealand, the Doncaster equivalent is the Sleepyhead Easter Handicap, a Group 1 Open handicap over 1,600 metres at Ellerslie on Easter Saturday.
The Easter field now makes towards the turn, 450 to go, and Redsen hugging the inside from B-Boss and Marconi. They're followed by Roy's Boy. Here's My Quota with a big run down the extreme outside. Cactus Jack, Perfect World, followed by Chosen Ace. B-Boss, Cactus Jack got through on the inside, Marconi and My Quota with Roy's Boy. They're 200 metres out in the Sleepyhead Easter Handicap, and it's Cactus Jack in front from Roy's Boy. A late run by Magnet Bay. It's fair flying on the outside, going towards the line. Cactus Jack has got it.
Cactus Jack gained the photo decision by a half head from Magnet Bay, with a number of the better-known runners simply not handling the conditions. Cactus Jack, a grandson of that grandsire Zephyr Bay, was ridden to victory by Toby Brett. The AJC Australian Oaks is the annual highlight for 3-year-old fillies, but 2 weeks beforehand, the major chances step out in the Group 1 Ansett Australia Stakes over 2,000 metres at Rose Hill.
Arctic Scent about to take off, followed well back by Hello Dale, and then Nightclub and Love's Avenue, and back at the tail is Bravo Zulu as they come around the corner. Into the straight, it's Salius, the leader over Pontal, Lass, Ken Bell and Alacrity. The lines roar on the fence. Arctic Scent is wider out, followed by Isolde and Hello Dale as they come past the 200. Beedman released the brakes. He stepped on the gas, and Salius put about 4 lengths on Ken Bell, followed by Alacrity. Hello Dale is grinding home wide out. She's running about badly, Hello Dale, and Salius clear. The bolter Ken Bell has run a heck of a race for second, but Salius beat Ken Bell. Hello Dale third. Then
Salius won 2 Group 1s for the season, as well as finishing second in the 1,000 guineas and the Australian guineas. She's by Salieri, best known as the sire of champions Schillaci and Shaftesbury Avenue. And she's from the immediate family of that fabulous sprinter and leading sire, Vane. The VRC Oaks and the Ansett Australia were the first Group 1s that former leading jockey Pat Hyland has experienced in his latter-day role as a trainer. That clear-cut Rosehill performance saw Salius start a short-priced favourite in the AJC Australian Oaks 2 weeks later at Randwick.
What's happened to Salius here? Salius seemed to collide with another runner, and she speared right off the track on the turn into the straight. She's gone, Salius, as they come over the rise, and Ken Bell swept to the lead in the bright pink colours and raced away from Isolde. Eureka Jewel is running on, followed by Esther Kelly. Ken Bell clear. Here comes Eureka Jewel. Eureka Jewel is going after Ken Bell. Ken Bell still in front. Eureka Jewel is trying her heart out. Ken Bell is hanging on to that lead, though, and Ken Bell wins the Oaks for the South Coast.
A perfect ride here by heavyweight jockey Justin Sheehan, who gave many of his bigger name rivals a lesson in accurate judgment of pace. Ken Bell is part owned by 2 outstanding judges of horseflesh, Renata Coleman from Ireland and the South African-born but Sydney-based James Bester. We saw earlier during our tribute to Octagonal how powerful Count Chivas was at the end of 2,400 metres in the Mercedes-Benz Classic. Trainer Lee Friedman specially set the Lord Ballina horse for this race and again teamed up with the ultra-patient Stephen King. Early in the week, the race looked a formality for Count Chivas, but the prospect of a slow track resurrected the hopes of his major rivals.
Bozart is waiting behind those leaders, looking for a run, followed by Count Chivas as they turn for home, and there are 4 leaders now. It's Tennessee Oak, the Bandette, Cornwall King, Electronic between horses coming over the rise. Here's Count Chivas. Count Chivas taken to the extreme outsiders, coming after them, followed by Brilliant Poet and the Old Grey Spiritual Star running a bit of a race. Count Chivas hit the lead in the cup inside the 200. The Bandette is sticking to him, but Count Chivas gets the upper hand close to home. Stephen King has ridden this with the patience of Job, and Count Chivas draws away to win the cup over the Bandette.
Lee Friedman was certainly the key player in Australian Group 1 races this season. And here he was again, the supreme achiever at racing's highest level. Count Chivas is curiously bred for a 3,200-metre winner, boasting 3 crosses of great speed sire Star Kingdom and descending from the same family as 72 Golden Slipper winner John's Hope. Melbourne Cup hero Doremus had his autumn campaign thrown into turmoil when he was a late scratching at the barrier in the Randwick Stakes, subsequently won by Electronic. That meant Sydney Cup plans were out the window, and a fresh program had to be designed for the baldy-faced chestnut. With Cup-winning rider Damien Oliver still on assignment in Hong Kong, his replacement was the jock they call Billy Idol, Raymond Shane Dye.
Coming around the corner at the 400 mark, Sober Suit is tackled by the Epsom winner Next Joy. Next Joy takes the lead on top of the rise. Here's Juggler. Juggler into the clear after him quickly, followed by All Our Mob and wider out Doremus running on very strongly. Juggler hit the lead past the 200. Doremus coming down the outside though is thundering home. Doremus is coming after Juggler. Doremus put paid to Juggler in 2 strides, takes the lead and races away to score a brilliant win.
Doremus was Group 1 number 12 for the Freedmans, equalling their best ever season. The stayer relished the fast pace set by Toorak winner Sober Suit and had simply too much power for Juggler in the final 100 metres.
The South Australian Jockey Club has made their May Carnival extremely attractive to 3-year-old fillies by moving the Australasian Oaks from its former February date. This year, the Australasian Oaks provided a real awakening, a superbly related filly named Like a Smile.
Princess Quilla, the rail out wide like a smile, and then came Gaelic Joy. Unpretentious got a dream run in the straight and went through to lead. Classic Allure out wide as they come to the 200. Still their Innocent Affair, and here's Like a Smile starting to zoom at them out deep. She's sprinting home. Like a Smile has revved up very quickly, and it's Group 1 success for Peter Hayes at his home headquarters. Like a Smile spears away to win easily.
Like a Smile is by the 1986 Melbourne Cup winner at Talek, a son of the international influence Roberto. The filly is closely related to latter-day top-liners Pharaoh and Redding, as well as Like a Lover and Like a Show, prolific Group 1 horses for the Bart Cummings stable in the mid-1970s. The Australasian Oaks has decided over 2,000 metres. The next step for these 3-year-old fillies was to the 2,500 metres of the South Australian Oaks a fortnight later. With Like a Smile having gone for a spell, the Australasian Oaks runner-up, Miss Margaret, was an obvious favourite.
And they were followed by Newtown Pike and Arctic sent into the clear, Unpretentious wide, followed by Innocent Affair, Classic Allure, Royal Cabot, Esther Kelly, well back with Country Walk. Clearly Supreme defies them at the 200 though, still a length and a half in front. Now Miss Margaret joins in with Not on Friday in the centre, but Margie's let go at the 150 and it's all over. Miss Margaret has shot away in the Sizzler Oaks at Group 1 level, and after a beautiful ride in transit, goes home to score for Simon Price, a length and a half. Second place.
The star of South Australian Oaks Day was undoubtedly trainer Peter Hayes, enjoying his first season as the trainer for the Lindsay Park Empire. Hayes led in the winning trifecta in the South Australian Classic, Miss Margaret, Clearly Supreme, and Not on Friday. The South Australian Derby has so often given punters a glimpse of future big race winners. Just look at the last 5 winners: Count Chivas, Bullwinkle, Our Pompeii, Sub-Zero, and Shiva's Revenge. Despite this great historical pointer, punters will treat the 1996 Derby result with a high degree of caution.
In the straight, St Shannon goes up now to payback time. Hurricane Storm switches to the inside. Wider out is Cheviot running a terrific race. 200 to go in the Malaysia Airlines Derby, and Cheviot's gone up to take the lead from payback time and Hurricane Storm. Payback time coming again at Cheviot. Cheviot in front though, close to home, and Cheviot by the ill-fated Sire Average Game has taken a classic. It's Cheviot's Derby. Second.
A 60-1 shock result with the little-known Cheviot beating a brace of Danehills. Cheviot is by the obscure century horse Average Game, and victory was about 2.5 years too late. Average Game died after serving a small book of mares in 1993. Adelaide's greatest prize for sprinters is the Group 1 Goodwood Handicap, run over the testing 1,200-metre circuit at Morfettville.
Also in that division, Latinville, a wide sports beat as they come to the turn, Lord Matthew Identikit, and then further back in the field, Cut Up Rough, followed by Relina, and last of all, Viminaria. In the straight, the race, Paddington End, Head Sword. Wide out, here comes Mad Chevelle looming up at them, and now Scorn Bold is into the clear, starting to put in a big finish. Further back behind those, then Lord Matthew, Lindbergh, the bolt of the rail, but it's Sword in front with 100 to go. Sword is glistening, he's holding on from Scorn Bold, coming quickly, Lord Matthew, Sword in front, and Sword takes the Goodwood.
Sword had won the Group 2 Angus Brute over the Goodwood circuit at the 1995 Adelaide Cup meeting, and was able to provide yet another Adelaide triumph for wily veteran Sydney mentor Jack Denham. Sword was purchased and syndicated as a yearling by Melbourne media personality Shelley Hancox, and gave former Queensland rider Chris Muntz his second Group 1 of the season. 2 days later, Adelaide puts on her biggest day of racing for the year with the running of the $300,000 Group 1 Adelaide Cup.
Right down the outside, French Resort is starting to put in her claim, and then Ceto Bridge. They fan across the track now, and it's now going to the front section. French Resort out wide has raced up to hit the front with 200 to go. French Resort section late on the scene out wide, Gate War, but this bonny little mare, French Resort in front. Skybow is coming home like a train, but French Resort's in front. She's got a head out, she extends, and it's Colin Alderson's Cup. French Resort by 3/4. Second.
A popular result for one of the quiet achievers of Victorian racing, the Cranbourne-based Colin Alderson. The mare was ridden a perfect waiting race by local jockey Jason Stubby Holder. For breeding buffs, French Resort was the 4th Group 1 winner for the season, produced by a daughter of Luskin Star, the others being Strategic, Merlene and Paint. The Brisbane Turf Club's Winter Carnival suffered a near washout, with the running of the Doomben 10,000 being considered doubtful until the morning of the race. Eventually, on an exceptionally heavy track, the meeting went ahead. Not surprisingly, the list of horses that didn't handle the conditions was an exceptionally long one.
Chief De Beers making a dash quickly on the outside. Suntain is with them, followed by Green Sweeper on the inside, and then Pimpata Sun. Further back is Shame, and then Cutler and Persian Flyer sticking to the inside. Monopolize coming wide, and so is Encores. Suntain is the leader in the straight, 300 metres to go. Chief De Beers struggling to get to him. Quick return on the inside. Here's Encores flying home out wide. Suntain is in front. They've got 150 metres to go. I don't know whether they're going to catch him. Encores is flying home now. Suntain in front. Encores trying hard to get to him. He can't get there. No. Suntain won the 10,000. Suntain first.
Back in the autumn of 1988, a brilliant speedster named Snippet skimmed across the top of a soggy Randwick to win the Group 1 Galaxy. 8 years later, that mud-running capability was the critical ingredient in Suntain's surprise victory. The thrill for trainer Bernie Howlett subsided rather quickly, however, as connections were soon in dispute and removed the sprinter to the stables of leading Brisbane mentor Bruce McLaughlin. The Doomben Cup this year lacked the presence of a top-class 3-year-old as it had enjoyed the previous year when the younger generation filled the placings. The race was a classic two-horse confrontation, with the Freedman-trained De Remus going for his 4th Group 1 of the season and the Gay Waterhouse representative Juggler aiming for his 2nd. Freedman versus Waterhouse, Dye versus Beedman, De Remus versus Juggler. The Brisbane Turf Club packed them in for this one.
On the home turn of the Doomben Cup, Delinquent's gone to the lead. Juggler's coming after him. Stony Bay still there. Here comes De Remus down the outside with All Out Mob. Juggler hit the front. 300 metres to go. Juggler in front, a length clear. De Remus is coming after him on the outside with All Out Mob. Juggler's still in front. 150 to go. De Remus trying hard to get to him. Juggler's the leader. He's holding De Remus. De Remus can't get there. Juggler's too good. Juggler first. De Remus second. All Out Mob third. But it is...
The Doomben Cup was Group 1 number 7 for Gay Waterhouse for the season and number 11 for the leading jockey Darren Beedman. Gay Waterhouse had visions of freshening Juggler for a tilt at the $1 million Stradbroke handicap. However, managing part owner Peter Horvitz preferred to send Juggler to the spelling paddock with the 1996 Cox Plate, his major spring mission.
This year's Queensland Turf Club Carnival at Eagle Farm has been hailed as the best, with the inaugural $1 million Stradbroke handicap providing a magnificent centrepiece. The opening day of the carnival featured the Group 1 Queensland Oaks, and the odds-on favourite was the Pat Holland-trained VRC Oaks heroine, Celius.
On the home turn, 450 metres left to go. Balare is just in front of On the Bell. Salius tackling them 3 wide, and Eastern Zone is going up to join the leaders. Arctic Centre's just behind them, looking for the way clear. Then Military Call, and right down the outside, Little Sonata. It's Salius in front, 250 metres to go. He goes for a full board now. She's just in front of Sonata on the outside, and Arctic Cent coming through in the centre, and finishing strongly as Aphasia. Salius has gone. Sonata just in front of Arctic Cent. Arctic Cent is through on the inside. They hit it. Arctic Cent just beat Sonata. Third home was Aphasia, and
a real victory for toughness here, as Arctic Cent had contested 5 Oaks races in 4 states before coming up trumps. The filly is a homebred for major Victorian owner David Moody, and is by his former high-class Masqué horse, Blazing Sword. 7 days later, the colts do battle over the same 2,400-metre circuit at Eagle Farm. The Ingham brothers had a promising Karpstad gelding named Fayence, who brilliantly won the traditional Derby lead-up, the Group 2 Grand Prix Stakes. But charging home late in that race was a New South Wales-bred, Newcastle-based galloper called Valance.
And last of all is Eastern Zone. As they come up towards the home turn, they've got 450 metres left to go. Barvo taken on by Battlewise. Battlewise sprinting quickly, went to the lead. Fayence is into the clear. Super Slew down the outside, starting a long run. Revenge is still there. Priceless Asset, Fresno Canyon behind them. And Valance is pulled to the extreme outside. Fayence immediately under pressure. Super Slew hit the lead. It's Super Slew just in front of Battlewise. Revenge sticking on. Valance is coming with a big run down the outside. Super Slew in front. Valance is going to him with every stride. Super Slew just in front. Valance diving on the line. Photo close. Valance or Super Slew, nothing in it.
The Queensland Derby was a Group 1 first for trainer Peter Eggleston, and the third for the season for successful lightweight Chris Muntz. This triumph had also vindicated the confidence Eggleston had shown in Valance by taking the gelding to Auckland the previous December for the New Zealand Herald Derby. It had been a season of discontent for likeable Melbourne trainer Ken Newman and his superlative sprinter Hariba. At Eagle Farm in the 1,300-metre Group 2 Qantas Cup, Hariba put his Stradbroke handicap credentials forward for all to see.
Into the straight, and Ariba is the leader. He's a length in front of Coburger. Chief De Beers pulled to the outside, then Mamselle Padrille. A length away, Suntain. Captainly pulled out to make a run, and then Loader. Hariba's in front, 300 out. Chief the Beers, Suntain. Coburger battling hard. Captainly on the outside. Loader's making ground, and then Rootsland. But Hariba's well clear inside the 200. He kicked away. He's in front of Chief the Beers. Loader getting home hard. Captainly, but it's all Hariba. He's raced well clear, close to home, and Hariba's bolted in.
Bookmakers had bet as much as 20 to 1 about Hariba in the Stradbroke, but this immensely popular sprinter became all the rage after that magnificent Qantas Cup victory. Monopolise, Australia's winning representative in the Hong Kong International Bowl back in December, was a solid second selection, with the Freedman-trained Gold Ace easy in the market after drawing off the course.
Hariba travelling easily. He's a half length away third on the inside. Mamselle Padrilla is right on his heels. Singer running fifth on the outside, followed by Encores getting into the clear. Rooseland coming wide, and then Carptingly and All Our Mob. They're well in the straight. He can't get out. Hariba, he's in a pocket behind them at the moment. Singer sprinting quickly on the outside. He's gone to the lead. The run's there for Hariba now if he's good enough, but Singer shot away. 150 metres to go. It's Singer a length in front. Here comes Encores. Encores is flying after Singer, but Singer's giving plenty. Oh, he's too good. Singer first. Singer's beaten Encores. Monopolise got third.
This son of champion sire, Danehill, boasts a pedigree of international appeal, as his half-sister Tracy's Element is a 4-time Group 1 winner in South Africa, and their mother, Princess Tracy, is an Irish Group winner by leading sire Ahanoora. That leaves us with one open-class Group 1 race to go, the $500,000 Wide World of Sport Brisbane Cup.
Super Slew swinging to the outside. They've hit the straight now, just on 400 metres to go. Dupayne sprinted quickly on the outside. He's really turning it on, Dupayne, and he's raced away from them. 300 metres to go. Dupayne's raced away. He's 3 lengths in front of Gossett's French Resort. Then Maxim, the Phantom Chance, and Super Slew. But boy, look at this. It's Dupayne well clear with 100 metres to go. He's killing them in the Brisbane Cup, and he's going to win it easily. Dupayne first by 6 lengths. Maxim second. Super Slew third.
Dupayne consolidated the excellent professional relationship enjoyed by the emerging Randwick trainer Alan Bell and ex-Victorian jockey Kevin Forrester. Dupayne became the 42nd individual Group 1 winner by that world record-breaking sire, Sir Tristram.
For many racing fans, the big autumn group events for 2-year-olds are the most exciting part of the business. At the shorter distances, we see youngsters engaging in sheer speed duels, while the longer races give us the first clues as to the classic prospects of the season ahead. While New Zealand's summer of group racing was in full swing, the 2-year-olds on both sides of the Tasman were limbering up for the rich autumn contests in Melbourne and Sydney. At Trentham, the $250,000 Magic Millions Classic gave us the opportunity to preview a filly who would eventually take her place during the Sydney Autumn Carnival. Her name? Lador Magic.
Country Court looking for a split in behind them. And then we've got running home Nafarito starting to get up alongside of them. Lodor Magic, Nafarito's reaching it over on the outside. Back in behind them, Country Court looking for room late. Lodor Magic is digging in. Oh, she's classy. 3 out of 3 and gets the money.
Meanwhile, in Queensland, the Australian version of the Magic Millions produced a field which, on face value, seemed a shade weaker than the high standard we have come to expect of a race that has given us Tristanar, St Jude, Bold Promise and Clan O'Sullivan.
350 out. Winger Charger after Like a Plum. A length away. Last Snip and Sovereign State. Barou's coming to the outside from Le Mornay. The Victorian Colt. Winger Charger stormed up at the 150. Winger Charger raced to the lead from Like a Plum. Running on is Al Banker, but the Victorian Colt's got the million shot to pieces. Winger Charger in front and he's too good. Winger Charger by more than a length to Al Banker and Last Snip. Then...
For the first race in the 2-year-old coverage of the Australasian Racing Year, let's cross to Ascot in Western Australia for Perth's only Group 1 race for the youngsters, the Karrakatta Plate.
250 to go. Pitchblend the leader from Grandstand at Alabama Whirly. There followed the outside Nagiro running on. Pitchblend still in front, joined by Alabama Whirly. Down the outside running on quickly. Centrepiece, Saddled Wonder, Pitchblend, Alabama Whirly, and Nagiro. Alabama Whirly takes the lead, and Alabama Whirly has won it from Nagiro.
12 months earlier, this race had been won by the smart Danny Boy. Alabama Whirly, by the former Good New South Wales racehorse Bull Rancher, also earned himself a trip to Sydney to test his mettle against the best of the 2-year-olds from the eastern seaboard. Melbourne's premier race for 2-year-olds is the Mercedes-Benz Blue Diamond Stakes, normally decided at Caulfield, but this year transferred to Flemington. The top Sydney trainers, John Hawkes and Gai Waterhouse, seem to have all the aces with flavour, Clang and Express Gold, but they hadn't counted on a grey flash by the name of Paint.
And it's on the inside, Paint, the leader to Winger Charger, Express Gold breathing behind them, looking for the way clear. They were followed by Miss Jugar and Flavour, and then Our Castle looking for an out. Had to squeeze out of a pocket there, and Clang coming on the outside. But Paint is away at the 200, broke 4 lengths in front now to Flavour. Then Our Castle and Clang on the outside, but Paint at the 100, led by about 4 lengths to Flavour. Then Our Castle and Clang, and Paint kept going. Paint is going to walk it in. A brilliant win to Paint over Flavour. Our Castle third.
This was one of the most comprehensive Blue Diamond victories since the great founding away in 1986. Paint was bred and part owned by David Moody's successful contract racing and breeding operation, and was stylishly ridden at the front of the field by Dan Nicklick.
9 days after the Blue Diamond Stakes, the 2-year-olds face another Group 1 encounter in the Vobis Sires Produce Stakes at Flemington. Although both races are for 2-year-olds at set weights, the 1,400 metres of the Sires means this race is usually run at an entirely different tempo, often leading to an upset result.
From My Duke finishing fairly well along the inside. A gap further back is Zaya and Clang. Express Gold at the 300, the leader, by 2 lengths to My Duke, finishing hard on the inside, and then Prattler. Here comes Zaya. Zaya is coming with a big run on the outside. Express Gold grabbed by My Duke, who's hit the front. Zaya still running on. My Duke 150 outled. Zaya's coming at him hard now. The filly racing up to My Duke. Zaya and My Duke. My Duke fights on. My Duke won it from Zaya by a long head. 2.5.
Previous winners of the VRC Sires Produce Stakes include Vane, Imogil, Grosvenor, Canny Lad, and the 1994 Victoria Derby winner, Blevik. This year's winner, My Duke, may also be in line for classic honours. He's a no-nonsense son of the Chequers stud stallion Deputy Governor, and everything about him suggests he'll be much better at 3 than 2. There's no doubt about the focus of everyone's attention in Sydney during the autumn. It's the $2 million Tooheys Golden Slipper, the world's richest race for 2-year-olds, and a race that has, in part, shaped the development of the thoroughbred in Australia over the past 2.5 decades. This year, the STC's 6 dedicated lead-ups produced 4 results of real slipper significance, the first being the Skyline Stakes at Canterbury.
Armadale, the leader, straightening up over Excel Pilot, and they've come away now from Intergaze, who's hooked across their heels, followed by Roaring Success. Armadale clear, Excel Pilot's having another dive at him. Intergaze and now Mushy chiming in. Armadale collapsed. Excel Pilot hit the lead over Intergaze and Mushy, and Excel Pilot scores a very gutsy win from either.
The same afternoon, the Chlorophyll team, trainer Max Lees and jockey John Marshall, provided an upset result in the Sweet Embrace Stakes.
Flapper on the outside, Cashier on the fence, followed by Stony Fell Road, who's unleashing down the outside with a big run at the 200, and Flapper hit the lead from Roman Fashion. Stony Fell Road is out after Flapper. Flapper's in front, 100 out over Stony Fell Road, and Dane Ripper charging late, but Flapper is going to win the Sweet Embrace Stakes, and Flapper beats Stony Fell Road. Dane Ripper.
The following week at Rose Hill, Gai Waterhouse produced her highly boomed Danehill colt, Magic of Sydney, for a tantalising clash with the unbeaten Kiwi juvenile Batavian. Meanwhile, the octagonal firm of the Inghams, Hawks and Beedman lay in waiting.
As they race into the straight, 300 out, Roaring Success is headed by Aerogeed. Aerogeed raced to the lead at the 200. Flavour trying to hold Magic of Sydney in the pocket. He did just that, and now Flavour's after Aerogeed. Batavian between the Magic of Sydney is charging home late, but Flavour drew clear near the line from Batavian. Magic of Sydney getting home hard in the last bit, but Flavour wins thanks to a fabulous D. Beedman ride.
The fillies race on the same day, the Riesling Slipper Trial, saw a similar Trans-Tasman clash with the Lee Friedman trained fillies Alcachel and Merlin opposed to the unbeaten L'Adore Magic, winner of the Magic Millions Classic at Trentham, and New Zealand's top race for juvenile fillies, the Matamata Breeders' Stakes.
At the 300, L'Adore Magic still in front. Merlin looks to be coasting. Now Hall pops the question. Dashing Eagle wider out without Cashel. Merlin hit the lead. Dashing Eagle coming after her. L'Adore Magic is battling on, but Merlin draws clear close to home. Greg Hall keeping her going, and it's like mother, like daughter. Merlin does what her dam did in the Riesling Slipper Trial. She beat...
There was a week of turmoil leading up to the Slipper. Flavor's win in the Todman Trial meant Magic of Sydney was forced to race again the following week and was defeated again. L'Adore Magic came down with a virus and had to be scratched just hours after Connections paid a $100,000 late entry fee, which was subsequently refunded. A record 3 other horses were supplemented for the race at a $100,000 premium, including Blue Diamond winner Pace and the VRC Sires Produce Stakes runner-up Zaya. Stand by as all 16 runners are locked away for the running of the 1996 $2 million Tui's Golden Slipper Stakes.
Off and running in the Slipper. Good start. Brave Bulldog is a shade tardy to begin. Magic of Sydney's going straight back to last. And Excel Pilot is away brilliantly. Painter's going fast in the early stages, followed by Armadale, Master Jolly, Flavour. Flapper ridden hard, 5 and 6 deep in the early part, going up towards the lead. Sovereign State handy, but he's out very wide on the outside of Happen. A gap then to Brave Bulldog. Merlin is back midfield on the inside, followed by Clang. Dane Rippers off the track. And then Zaya, Batavian, Precious Glitter. Magic of Sydney is last, about 12 lengths off the lead. 600 metres out, Excel Pilot the leader. In Paint getting off the fence now, moves into second spot as they come around the home turn. Flapper carted 3 deep. Flavors 3 wide on the outside of Master Jolly. Armadale on the fence. Merlin looking for the way out. Oh, there's trouble on the turn as Merlin came out. Brave Bulldog was hampered, and so was Sovereign State. Magic of Sydney is taken to the extreme outside. Coming to the 200 mark, Paint is the leader, but here comes Merlin. Merlin on the outside is coming at Paint with Flavour between them. Merlin shot to the front 100 metres out. She's racing away, the little Danehill filly, and Merlin is going to score a magnificent win in the Slipper. 4 for the Freedmans. Paint got...
The 1996 Slipper will unfortunately be remembered as much for the after-race drama as for the quality of the race itself. On the home turn, Merlin's rider, Greg Hall, took his filly sharply to the left, causing a chain reaction of interference. Chief Steward Ray Murray precipitated enormous headlines when he later suspended Hall for 2 months and fined him a record $50,000. This episode had an untidy sequel in the rooms of the AJC committee, where Hall was additionally charged with improper riding, a charge he denied and against which he sought immediate redress through the courts. The committee subsequently withdrew the additional charge against Hall, but the whole affair left a sour taste in a great many mouths. The drama over Greg Hall's ride and the home turn interference served to shift the focus away from the merit of Merlin's win in the Slipper. In the AJC Sires Produce Stakes at Randwick 9 days later, she was able to effectively silence the doubters.
Merlin on the fence, waiting for a run as they come over the rise, followed by My Duke, and then Victory Dash on top of the hill. It's Intergaze, Dashing Eagle. There's a split now for Merlin. Victory Dash on the outside, running a big race. Zaya coming through near the fence, but Merlin burst to the lead. 100 out is clear of Victory Dash, and Clang is charging along the rail, but the little Danehill filly Merlin is going to do it again, and Merlin, too strong, wins the Sires over.
Merlin went to her winter quarters after this tremendous win in which she gave her rivals no chance with superior stretch acceleration. Merlin was selected by agent Henry Plumtree for owners Lloyd Williams and Kerry Packer for $100,000 at the 1995 William Inglis Australian Easter Sale.
With Merlin enjoying the lush autumn pasture, the opportunity existed for an up-and-coming youngster to emerge when the youngster stepped up to 1,600 metres for the Group 1 Moet and Chandon Champagne Stakes.
And then Clang and Dan Endry, followed by Bolster with Anthems on the fence, and Babu's Boy as last as they come over the rise. Victory Dash is quickly rounded up by Intergaze. My Duke on the outside, taking a while to hit top gear, and they're clear of Clang, and Anthems is running on strongly at the 200. Intergaze still in front. He won't give up. He's fighting back. He's clear of My Duke, and getting home fast is Anthems, who's going to fly to the line. Intergaze in front as they get near home, and Intergaze wins the Champagne Stakes without...
The win was a welcome boost to popular Warwick Farm trainer Rod Craig, who won this race 13 years earlier with Lady Eclipse. But did you notice the performance of the second place getter, Anthems?
John Hawkes was openly critical of Shane Dye's handling of Anthems in the Champagne Stakes and replaced him with Octagonal's autumn partner, Darren Beedman, for the QTC Sires Produce Stakes at Eagle Farm.
Wait here in front of Crystal Power, leads by a length. Forgotten Hero, a neck away third, then Last Snippet and Hornet. Regal Centre over on the inside. Flavour coming out wide, starting a strong run, then Superb Lady. Where's Anthem? He's back second last. He's coming to the extreme outside. He's starting to wind up. Forgotten Hero moved up to wait here. Flavour on the outside joining them, so is Regal Centre. Anthem is really hitting top gear on the outside. He's flying home now. It's Flavour just in front. Anthems is coming at him. Anthem moved up to Flavour. Oh, geez, good. Look at him go to the line.
How was that for a performance? Anthems was naturally a short prize favourite for the Group 1 QTC Castlemaine Classic over 1,600 metres under handicap conditions at Eagle Farm on June 10.
Super Espion is the leader. He's pulled a whip on him. He's almost a length in front of Camino Rose on the outside, then Aussie Napper. Dayton going for a gap in the centre coming through. Where's the favourite, Anthems? Oh, he's giving them 10 length start. He's a mile behind them. Dayton in front with 200 metres to go. Dayton leads by a length on Camino Rose. Tambor into the clear. Here's Anthems. He's winding up on the outside, but is he giving them too much start? Look at him fly home. Tambor went to Dayton. Anthems flying on the outside. It's going to be tight. They hit it. Oh, it's close.
Anthems was unquestionably the most exciting classic prospect to emerge from the two-year-old season. Anthems is a woodland stud homebred, being by Sedgenho Stud's dual hemisphere stallion Palace Music, also sire of the American superstar Cigar, from a mare by the 5-time Group 1 winner Sovereign Red. Anthem's winning weight in the Castlemaine, 56.5 kilos, was the same as that carried to victory by Mahogany in 1993.
In New Zealand, there are 2 Group 1 races for the juveniles. The first of these is the Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes at Awapuni.
From Love to Dance, challenging hotly on the outside. Fleur de Chine over on the inside of the 2, and then Genuine Strike. They've drawn right away from them, proving Emerald Cut. It is Love to Dance in front of the 200 metres. From now second on the outside is Genuine Strike, and then Fleur de Chine. Love to Dance clear. Coming home well is Genuine Strike. Love to Dance. She loves to shake, rattle, and roll the opposition in the sires. She's a star. Love to Dance.
Love to Dance was the second successive daughter of the now Australian-based stallion City Dancer to win this race, following on from Ballroom Babe in 1985. Love to Dance handled the soft conditions nicely under the guidance of Philip Mercer to win by half a length. The Ellerslie Sires Produce on April 8th was a rematch of the Manawatu conflict between Love to Dance and Lord Ted.
But Love to Dance in front. Lord Ted's coming hard, followed by Emerald Cut. In behind them, Kate Amers running on from Bozil and the Vita Star. She switched into overdrive. Love to Dance in front and shot a length and a half fair from Lord Ted. On the inside now is Emerald Cut. Love to Dance. Lord Ted is levelled on the outside, and Lord Ted has mastered the favourite, Love to Dance, and Lord Ted has won it. Love to Dance second, Emerald Cut 3 lengths away third. Followed to be
Lord Ted made maximum improvement from Awapuni, turning a half-length defeat into a sparkling 2-length victory. Lord Ted is a son of the very reliable Bletchingley horse Lord Ballina, who has now left 16 individual stakes winners over all distances to 3,200 metres.
That was the Australasian Racing Year for 1995-96. There were many great races and many magic moments, but for me, these 4 stand out. 5 Group 1s for any 3-year-old is a magnificent effort, and the Big O Octagonal thoroughly deserves the special place in Australian racing history that he's carved for himself this season. Doremus was truly magnificent in his Caulfield Melbourne Cup stubble, with his Melbourne Cup being the biggest winning margin since Rainlover smashed his hapless rivals by 8 lengths back in 1968. Doremus cemented his claims for future recognition by graduating from handicap to weight for age class in the autumn. And then there was Flying Spur, who arguably turned in the most brilliant single performance by any horse in either Australia or New Zealand when he spaced a top field of weight for age horses in that all-age stakes at Randwick in the autumn. And when was the last time we witnessed such brilliant finishing speed from any 2-year-old as that delivered by Anthems in Brisbane in the QTC Sires Produce and the Castlemaine Classic? Darren Beedman, aided by his unbeaten 6-win sequence at Crown Lodge on Octagonal and Anthems, was the leading Group 1 jockey in Australia, ahead of Shane Dye and Damien Oliver on 6 apiece. For the 5th successive season, Lee Freedman was the country's leading Group 1 trainer, with a personal best of 13 at racing's ultimate level. John Hawkes also had a personal best season, with 9 Group 1 wins. The Crown Lodge horses collectively won more than $10 million in prize money. And among the Group 1 sires, one horse stands alone. That's right, the second successive season, Dane Hill is the leading sire, with his progeny winning 9 Group 1 races and record prize money of just on $7 million. On behalf of Bill Collins, Gary Gray and the entire Raceplay team, I hope you've enjoyed this unique Australasian Racing Year. Yes, there were the usual thrills and spills, the triumphs and the tragedies, the agonies and the ecstasies that invariably blended together to create a full season of Australasian racing. But this season is truly unique, because no other season will be able to boast a mighty octagonal in classic winning form.